Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. How's it going, chat? Hope you're doing well. Oh my gosh. Ravelman. Did I have that correct? Ravelman? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it very much. You're officially a collider. Welcome to the stream. Every time, I swear to God. Look, okay, here's the thing. Here's the reason that happens. Because currently, so first off, it should be fixed now, right? It's not happening anymore, right? Correct? Yes? Maybe? Good now. Good. Okay. Currently, my headset that I need to hear things so that, like, I'm not playing things off of speakers are plugged in to my normal microphone. Which means that needs to still be connected. When I forget to mute said microphone, because I also have the 3DO mic plugged in so that you guys can hear me go from side to side. But when I do that, I have two microphones connected. And so because of that, if I do not mute the first one, you hear an echo. And I'm bad at remembering. That's not even 100% true. I do remember to do that. But then I got into the habit of restarting my PC before going live to make sure that I have a fresh start on my PC. And when I do that, it turns the microphone back on. So I forget to do it the second time. Anyways. Yep. I'm good at this. It's a very enjoyable start. Well, I'm glad you guys like it. I'm glad it's not, like, terrible. But yes, congrats on first, Hisui. Hello, While Running. Hello, Caruso. Hello, Q. Hello, Pocket Mochas. Let me see. Hello, Dr. Smug. How are you guys doing tonight? I hope things are going very well. Double the sucrose, double the hugs. Fair. I hope it's been a good weekend for you all. Thank you for the head pats. And the hydrate. Thank you. My cat is running around on my desk again, so you might hear some jingling. That's what that is. All right. And the posture check. Yep. Thank you for the check-in, Dino. How's it going? Welcome in. Okay. So, tonight, we will be doing some more story time. It's been horrible. You were getting bullied by a reactable galleon. Ain't that just the way? Danish made banana chocolate chip cookies? That sounds amazing. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That sounds awesome. Oh my gosh. We went and got sushi for dinner tonight, and that was really good. There's a chain of sushi places that do like the rotary style, like conveyor belt sushi, called Kura. It's a chain in Japan, actually, and they have, some locations here in the US as well. Pyra or Mitra? I have no idea. Yes, both of them at once. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, right. So they do like collabs every so often with like, sometimes with games, sometimes with anime, sometimes with, all kinds of stuff. They had a Star Rail one this time when we went. I was very, very tempted to get one of the like prize items, because like the way that they work is like, if you've never been, so first off, you get stuff is coming by on a conveyor belt, right? And you take the plate of the thing you want and you just take it and you get to eat it. So when you are, done with what you're eating, you put it into like a little slot and it counts up the plates you're doing so it can figure out how much it's going to charge you at the end. The way that Kuda does their thing is every 15, I think, plates that you put in, you get a prize. You get a little like gachapon machine that just like spits out a little prize. It's usually based on whatever their collab thing is. And so I was like, I kind of want, because it was Aventurine and Sparkle. And I kind of wanted some of the Sparkle stuff, but like we don't usually eat enough to like actually get the prizes, but you can buy the prizes separately, right? You can just buy them. So I was very tempted. I almost got a Sparkle, like a set of Sparkle magnets, but I didn't. And that's my story. So it was a good time though. It was fun, and it's always fun to eat there. I like sushi. I like sushi a lot. You should check your local gachapon, see if they have some Honkai stuff. So there is the Japanese marketplace that's nearby that I've mentioned before has like a little like it's like kind of like a little like mini mall kind of thing. And like they have a little like side area that's like this little alley, and they have a bunch of gachapon machines. And so I haven't checked them in a while, so they do cycle them out occasionally. So hello, Spike Kirby, how's it going? Let's your Abisu there. I have taken you guys to that place also. Like when you came out for Frosty, I think we went at least once. Yeah, it's a good place. I like it a lot. In any case though, I'm gonna set up this thing here. Love the food court. It's so good, right? It's so good. Thank you for the check-in, Spike Kirby. And also, let me see. Dusty, hi. Samarati, hi. Toen, hi. How are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. Okay, so we are gonna start. Nope, not that. That's right there. So, as usual, while I'm reading, I will be responding to chat and any ASMR request redeems in between chapters as I can, or if I hit a good breaking point. Same thing happens, when like raiders come in. I will stop to say hi to the raid, but I will do my best to like make it some clean break points, right? So tonight we are on. Hang on. I'm gonna open this up a little bit wider. That should work. Okay. So, we are on file number 15, which is titled Overnight on the Otherside, which is going to be, as per the title, the first time that they spend the night on the other side. So, because they have always made a point to come back. Well, not always before night falls, but yeah. So it gets way more dangerous overnight. The last one we did was the hot springs chapter, I guess, file, whatever, where they went on a hot springs vacation and then wound up in the interstitial space / other side. I don't think they actually wound up all the way on the other side. I think they just got stuck in an interstitial space like overnight and had to make their way back to their room. I really like that chapter though. Like, I don't know, hot springs are really cozy. So okay. But I will be keeping an eye on chat for redeems should they come in. I do have a fizzy water at the ready. Tonight's flavor is blackberry mango. It's a great one. No, it's one of my favorites of them, and I was very, very excited to get to it, even if I had to skip like a paragraph because it was maybe a little spicy for Twitch. Okay. Without further ado, File 15. Overnight on the Other Side. Chapter 1. In the later half of November, after the exam period ended, we were finally able to pick up our newly souped-up AP1. We had brought it back to Kozakura's mansion again, and Toriko and I went there to listen to Natsumi's explanation. Here, I'm going to move this so it's a little closer here. Okay, cool. So, like I thought, it turned out an engine swap wasn't enough on its own, so I started by replacing the whole chassis. I looked for junk parts from a combine harvester and transferred over an entire set of tracks. It was a lot of trouble, let me tell you. I mean, I've never messed with any of this stuff before, she explained. I'll bet. It feels a lot more rugged now. Looks tough. Toriko, who was crouched next to the AP1 and looking at the thick rubber tracks, said out of admiration. Oh, it's tough, all right. The movable track rollers will sink into the earth where the terrain allows it, which would make it a fair bit easier to drive over uneven ground. Natsumi put her hands on the hips of her jumpsuit and thrust her chest out. Her tone was brisk, but filled with pride. The engine used to be gas, but now it's diesel. It's a water-cooled 4-stroke cycle 3-cylinder engine. It needs diesel oil now, so make sure you don't get the wrong fuel. Got it. I nodded, examining the newly remade body of our vehicle. The engine, which had formerly been underneath a white cover on top of the treads, The engine, which had formerly been underneath a white cover on top of the treads on the right-hand side, had been removed, and in its place there was a large engine straddling the left and right treads. It looked like, since we didn't need to drive over the ridges of a tobacco field, she had squished the space underneath and placed the engine there in an attempt to maintain balance. What kind of speeds can we get out of it? I looked up and asked. The main reason I had asked Natsumi to mod the AP1 was to remedy the fact that our transportation couldn't break 3 kilometers an hour. Your normal driving speed's about 10 clicks. Top speed is 15. That's all? I asked, despite myself, and Natsumi gave me a cross look. Let me just tell you, 10 clicks is fast enough that you're gonna fly off the front if you hit something. This thing doesn't even have proper seat belts, just those little ones you wrap around your waist. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you bet that's right. This thing's light, so if we wanted to, we could get 30, 40 kilometers per hour of that engine, but you want to take it off-road, right? So we really shouldn't. About how fast is 10 clicks? Toriko stood up and asked. About what you'd go on a granny bike. Oh, that's slow, huh? That's 10 clicks off-road, okay? Oh, that is pretty amazing, huh? Toriko said, sounding surprised. Natsumi shrugged as if to say, you finally get it. Hesitantly, I asked, so how much extra do I owe? Natsumi scrunched her face up and thought for a moment before saying, 100,000 yen will do, for parts. Huh? Is that enough? Well, that is the number I originally gave you and all. No, she was obviously taking a loss here. I'd asked her to take on the job and waive the labor fees as a reward for our help with the Tsunuki Kano incident, but now I could see how major the modifications were. I felt bad. As I stood there, wondering what I ought to do, Toriko, who was now sitting in the left-hand seat, spoke up. I'll pay too. The same amount as Sorowo. Does having double the money help cover it a little better? Honestly, yeah, it does. Okay, we'll do that then. Thanks. Since I was the one who brought up the idea to Natsumi, I had been intending to put up all the money myself, so I was a little torn. Are you sure? Of course. It belongs to both of us, after all, Toriko said with a grin. That's when Natsumi interjected, looking a little miffed. That's right, it's your car, so learn to maintain it yourselves, would you? If you totally wreck it, you can have them tow it to my place, but if you're taking it off-road, I think there'll be a lot of little problems. Toriko and I listened closely as Natsumi explained what to do in the event that we ran into mechanical problems. I was taking notes, but anything written in the surface world was impossible to read in the other world, so I needed to commit as much of it to memory as possible. It actually confused Natsumi that we were listening so seriously, but if the AP1 broke down on the other side, fixing it could be a matter of life and death. With her lecture concluded, Natsumi climbed into the driving seat of the truck she had used to come here. Seeming somewhat mystified, she said, "Still, this may be an odd thing to ask now, but after putting in a weird order like this, where are you planning to drive it?" "We've got a good place. No one goes there, so we won't be causing any trouble." "Oh, yeah? Somewhere nice and out of the way, huh?" "Yeah, sorta." Well, be careful out there, would you? If a bear shows up, the bear's gonna be faster." As we watched the Ichikawa automobile repair shop's truck go, Toriko and I looked at one another. "A bear," she said. "Oh, sorry. A bear," she said. "I wouldn't want to run into a bear," Toriko quipped. "Yeah, my eye in your hand wouldn't do anything to it." "We could at least try your eye, couldn't we?" "Even if it did do something, it would just turn an ordinary bear into an insane one." I got into the AP1's right-hand seat and turned the ignition. There was an initial whir of the motor, then a sputtering sound, followed by a white smoke and a satisfying vroom. Thanks to the new muffler, it felt quieter than the old gas engine. "Okay, how about we take it out for a test drive?" "Let's go!" We took the AP1 into the other world through the gate Toriko had opened, to the place where no one else would come or be bothered by anything we might do. Our playground. Thank you for that, Pounce Lillian. Hello, how's it going? Chapter 2. We started our test run with the new souped-up AP1 right next to where we came out of the gate. We climbed up and down hills and did donuts in the fields. Once we'd gone through all the motions, we stopped the AP1 by the gate and cut the engine. "Hey, let's do something about these seats," Toriko said, now that it was quiet, sounding threatened. "Yeah, our butts are getting destroyed here." When we drove over bumps in these hard plastic seats, we were painfully reminded that they were hard, pointy bones inside our soft, fleshy bottoms. Natsumi had been right. When we were only going 3 kilometers per hour, all I thought was, oh, it's shaking. But when we were going 10 clicks, that was a huge difference. I got out of my seat and stretched my stiff waist. "Let's go and buy some cushions." "At an auto parts store?" "I don't know. These are a lot smaller than a car seat." "I'll settle for a floor cushion or anything at this point. Let's just find something." Whatever the solution was going to be, we had a vehicle for our next excursion now. Leaving the AP1 behind, we rubbed our behinds as we headed back to the surface world. We spent the next 3 weeks buying a variety of things and making other preparations. We were able to solve the comfort problem with a pair of seat cushions designed for large bikes. There were cushions with gel in them, designed for people who ride for long periods of time. We found some that you tie to the seat using a belt that you were able to install in the AP1. They were expensive, and when you include the ones we bought but couldn't use, we'd blown 300,000 yen, which was a depressing thought for me. We talked about how it would be nice to have a garage next to the gate to store the AP1 in before, but that proved surprisingly easy to accomplish. There were portable garages made of fabric and pipes, and it seemed like something we could assemble by ourselves. I know I said it was surprisingly easy, but the kit still cost us about 400,000 yen. Once you factor in the ladder, crowbar, shovel, hammer, and other tools we needed too, it was closer to 500,000. The assembly was a lot of work too. To prepare for the task, we found a flat area near the gate, cut the grass there, and plucked it out by the roots to prepare the ground. Next, we had a big cardboard box containing the portable garage we'd ordered online delivered to Kozukura's mansion, and opened it up on the other side of the gate. Drawing lines on the ground with measuring tape and carpenter's square to make sure we got all the dimensions right, we dug deep holes at each of the 4 corners to put pipes into. We placed the connecting pipes between them along the left and right sides, making sure that they were parallel. In order to keep the connection points from coming apart, we had to pound on them with the hammer, as well as flatten the metal pipes in a number of spots too. This was already some pretty exhausting work. With the 2 parallel lines on the ground finished, we put the other vertical pipes up along them. I held the pipes straight upright, while Toriko banged on the top of them with a hammer, using a piece of wood to distribute the force. 4 on the left, 4 more on the right. Combined with the initial 4 in the corners, we had a total of 12 pipes of the same height. Next, we ran arches over the top, connecting the left and right. The pillars were supposed to be angled slightly, and that tension was what fixed the arches in place, so it required a little brute force. This part was really tough for the 2 of us to do. We struggled from the very first arc. very first arch, and it was bad enough that after talking about it, we decided we might be doing something wrong, so we headed back to the surface world for a bit to check out the portable garage assembly videos on YouTube. Once the 6 arches were in place, we installed the support beams for both sides and the center of the ceiling. The frame of the garage was fully assembled, and we were both so happy we could have screamed. We put the tent over the top of the frame and pulled it taut with stakes and rope. Finally, our garage was complete. When we had met up at 10 a.m., I had taken the task lightly. Yo, Mitsunari, welcome in. When we met up at 10 a.m., I'd taken the task lightly. We'll be done a little after noon, don't you think? I'd said. I couldn't have been more wrong. It ended up taking a whole day's worth of work. But setting that aside, now we wouldn't have to leave our precious AP1 exposed to the elements. The beer we drank at the end of that day tasted ridiculously good. After that, we bought a metal storage shed too. Because the AP1 was so tall and wide, we had ended up having to buy a portable garage meant for a minivan, but since it was also comparatively short, there was space left over inside. We decided to put the shed at the back of it. I was going to order a smallish one, but I was shocked to find that even those easily came to 2,000 or 3,000 yen. That's expensive. Huh? They really cost that much? It's just a shed, right? Okay, maybe it's weird saying it's just a shed. It's not a good idea to cheap out on something we're going to use. I mean, it's going to be outside, and we wouldn't want it leaking or getting rusty, right? Well, no, but I thought it'd only be like 6,000 or so. That's way underestimating it. This was the price without assembly or construction costs, so it was still cheaper than it would normally be. In other words, normally, when you buy a shed, there are workers who assemble it for you, but we had no choice but to handle that part ourselves. If we called Akari, I bet she'd be more than happy to help, Toriko said. We were laboriously hauling the concrete blocks that were going to serve as a foundation through the gate. No. I thought you'd say that. No bringing in other people. This is just you and me. No telling them either. Okay. Don't get mad. I'm not mad. We carried the heavy metal panels into the garage, working ourselves into a sweat assembling them, but in the end, we somehow managed to get the shed set up. I thought it might be, but it was pretty dangerous doing it by ourselves. I spent the whole time we were working worrying that we were going to injure ourselves or tear through the tent. We emerged from the garage, covered in sweat, and collapsed onto the grass. I was staring idly into the sky, feeling the chill of the wind brushing against my cheek. We should have built the shed somewhere with more space, and then built the garage, Toriko muttered. I know, don't say any more. The tools that we had used building the garage had just been left lying out up until this point, so we rounded them up and put them in the shed, then returned, exhausted, to the surface world. Yuck, I'm all sweaty. I need a shower. You can go first, Toriko. Why don't we take one together? No, you first. Why not? I pretended to ignore the hurt look Toriko gave me. Ever since that time we went to the hot springs, Toriko had taken to saying this sort of thing occasionally. I had to wonder what she was thinking, especially when she was originally so reluctant to get in the bath together. I didn't mind getting in with her, but the way she invited me always felt pretty sketchy. If I took off my clothes in front of her, I wanted to be sure she wasn't going to start... I could be sure she was going to start staring again, so I didn't want to. In our regular trips in and out of the gate to work, at some point it became customary for us to use the shower in Kozukura's mansion. Kozukura had looked unamused at first, but when we made a point of always bringing a gift, her attitude softened a bit, and she told us we could use it whenever we wanted. I haven't been blinded by the gifts, you hear me? I'm just relieved to see you two pick up some modicum... Wait. I'm just relieved to see you two pick up some modicum of social graces, was what Kozukura said as she accepted a rather nice cake. Sorry about that. Was what Kozukura said as she accepted a rather nice cake that we had bought in one of the basement-level food markets in Ikebukuro. So you don't need any more gifts, then? Toriko said more than she needed to, as always, and got a rant about how that's the problem with you that she could have avoided. It had gotten more common for us to join Kozukura for a meal once we had freshened up in the shower now, too. Not that any of us cooked it, of course. We ordered pizza, Chinese, and other things. There was also a stock of cans of beer and Chuhai in the fridge that we had bought at the convenience store along the way, so we often drank together too. Toriko and I needed to head back before the last train, though, so we never drank all that much. I felt like my impression of the dining room kitchen in Kazakura's mansion as this cold, desolate place was slowly falling apart. It felt lived in now, you could say, though maybe it was just getting messy. Whenever she got some alcohol in her, Kozakura would talk about the hot springs. That was a great trip, you know. The food was good, and maybe it's okay to be able to relax and soak in the bath once in a while. Sure, I agreed noncommittally. I wasn't interested in going to a hot springs hotel at all, but if that's what it's like, I wouldn't mind going again, whether that's back to the same place or trying a new one. Yeah, Toriko said. Whenever she brought up the topic, Toriko and I both stopped saying very much. Kozakura still didn't know about the strange mannequins we'd encountered on our way back from our late-night bath. That had happened to us on the first night of our two-night stay, so Toriko and I spent the rest of our time there on high alert. Fortunately, there were no further incidents, so Kozakura was able to wholeheartedly enjoy the trip, even if no one else could. It hadn't been a bad idea for a trip. Though, and I was glad that Kozakura didn't get caught up in what happened to us. But when I thought about what could happen the next time... The other reason for it was a change in the way things felt between Toriko and me. That time in the hot springs, when we were sitting shoulder to shoulder... Yeah, I think there really was something a little weird about us. No, that's wrong. Toriko was being weird, not me. Let's be clear about that. Soravo, I love you. Thanks. I'm glad to hear it. Okay, I'm gonna skip that next part. It's referencing the thing we skipped last time. She makes a comment about Soravo's body, I'll just say. Hold up. The way she ogled my chest as she said that shocked me pretty bad. I hadn't expected Toriko to be that brazen. No, well, I didn't imagine that she was perfect. The way I had back when I first met her anymore. Let me do that reading again. Hang on. No, well, I didn't imagine that she was perfect, the way I had back when I first met her, anymore. Though she was beautiful and seemed flawless, the way that she could be a real slob, laughed like a goof whenever she got embarrassed, and froze up when she didn't know what to do was pretty lame. But still, wasn't what she said uncalled for? I had been doing my best not to stare too hard at Toriko's naked body. It was just too beautiful. I feel like seeing her living and moving was going to drive me crazy, but Toriko ogled me without hesitation. The more I thought about it, the more I felt like Japan's culture of public bathing was insane. Why was it okay for us to be naked? Wasn't that nuts? Was it because it was fine if we were all the same gender? Was that a valid reason? Wasn't that logic kind of breaking down here? When I thought back to me and Toriko, gabbing away in the nude, my mind went blank. How had I been able to do that? Frustratingly, Toriko seemed less concerned with what happened that time than I was. If anything, she'd acquired a taste for it and wanted to bathe together again. Even my repeated refusals hadn't deterred her. She was so brazen. It was almost like she thought I'd given her permission to get that close to me emotionally. Well, no. I started to get worried. Maybe I had given her permission. Had I given her some sort of signal without realizing it myself? Was that why Toriko's attitude had suddenly gotten so weird? Sorrow is a fucking moron, by the way. She does this for like half the series. It drives me slightly crazy. You did not miss Fizzy Water, no. But then again, Toriko was acting strange before that moment too, when her eyes were darting around the changing room. No, it started even before that, when we decided to go on the hot springs trip. Perhaps even before then, thinking back... Yeah, why was she sleeping naked that night in Naha? Because she was drunk? Was that all? My train of thought fled from the recollections of Toriko's naked body, tracing past memories backwards. In Okinawa, she made a big deal of praising my rather plain swimsuit. But when I praised hers, she got super shy. So shy that I felt embarrassed, too. She had a mom and a mama. She grew up in a house with two mothers that were married. She ended up on her own, got enthralled with Satsuki Aruma, ended up on her own again. It always took me a lot of courage to go to the next step in this train of thought. Maybe Toriko wanted to get even closer to me than I'd been thinking? Sorabo, I love you. I love you too. That's what I had said, without really thinking about it. That had to be it, right? After that, Toriko suddenly started acting weird. The image of Toriko as she gripped my hand so tightly it hurt, her eyes seeming to cling to me, was seared into my brain. The mannequins appeared and prevented it, but if not for that interruption, what would have happened between us after that? Whenever I thought of that, my train of thought always came to a stop. It became hard to breathe. I felt a clenching in my stomach, and my pulse quickened. This physical response I'd gotten so used to now made me aware of my own feelings. I was scared. Of Toriko? No, that wasn't it. I wasn't afraid of Toriko. Even if she was acting a little shifty, Toriko was still Toriko, my precious, irreplaceable partner. What I was afraid of was not knowing how to respond to Toriko. When this woman who would follow me anywhere, no matter how dangerous, who was always with me, and who I could trust to get closer to me, how was I supposed to deal with it? I didn't have an answer. I didn't have the knowledge or the experience. I felt like I was a little child again. Oh, I see now. Looking at Toriko beside me with her flawless smile, I felt lonely, but also like I'd realized something. I'm a child. Okay, while running, we are between chapters. If you want to redeem that fizzy water, I can do it for you now. Otherwise, I'll continue. But Sorabo spends a frustrating amount of time not realizing the signals she's sending and receiving. It takes her a while. She's incredibly dense. I mean, standard Yuri protag, right? But, alright. Here we go. Fizzy water. Start by giving you guys a little bit of bubbles. Okay. Here we go. What flavor? Tonight's flavor is blackberry mango. Which is very good. Yo, hello. Is it Kiyanome? Am I pronouncing that correctly? I hope I am. Welcome in. Congrats on pulling an SR. Yeah, it's actually really good. Normally, I'm more partial to, like, citrusy flavors, but SR and a follow, right? It's always cool when that happens. Alrighty. Did the volume just go away? Wait, did it? I mean, you don't hear me? Wait. Did things cut out? Can you guys not hear me? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's weird. I hope I didn't cut out. Um, Hopefully the rocket launchers in Golf with Friends from earlier weren't too much of a pain. Saw me in Orso stream. Yep. How's it going, Lewis? By the way, hang on. Sorry, YouTube chat was covered up. You can hear me good. Okay. But yes, hello, Lewis. Sorry, it's more difficult for me to see YouTube chat while doing the book. No drop on your end. Good. Okay. But yes, like I said, I tend to prefer the more citrusy flavors usually for fizzy waters. You need your run back on Super Battle Golf? Sure. You'll kick my ass. I'm not very good at that game. When do you get your new PC? I know people were requesting, well, I know Sen was requesting some Battle Golf for the 24-hour stream. I don't know if there's going to be time to fit that in, but maybe it's possible. I think, I might you lost every round. So did I. Wait, did you not get did you get any, did you complete any holes? Did you not finish any holes? Is that what you mean? Or do you just mean you lost each game? Because I also lost every game. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and continue with chapter 3. Oh, right, I was talking about the flavor before I did that. Yeah, like I said, I usually like the citrusy flavors more, but there's actually kind of a very strong, the mango is kind of subtle, but the blackberry is a little strong, and for whatever reason, that combination is very good. Finished some holes, but lost every game. Yeah, no, I did too. I lost all the games too. I didn't win any. Chapter 3. In order to escape my worries, I immersed myself in preparing for the trip. I hung out at the outdoor goods store, weighing my options when it came to tents, sleeping bags, fire starting tools, and more. I bought things a little at a time. I didn't have any proper experience with camping because, to be blunt, all I'd ever done was some illegal trespassing and squatting in ruins. Toriko had gone camping long ago, when she was still little, so we were both starting from scratch and learning as we went when it came to learning how to camp and gather the necessary equipment. When I was at one store, crouching down in front of a glass case filled with knives, Toriko called out to me, sounding worried. "You're looking at those knives with a face like you've been driven into a corner and don't know what to do. Are you okay?" I was thinking we might want a knife. I'd read a number of books and magazines that provided an introduction to camping, but most of the books had a section in their second half on how to use a knife and suggested buying a good one that cut well. After reading that a number of times, I started thinking we needed one. Next to me, Toriko brought her face next to the glass. "Whoa, isn't this one cool? It says it's made out of meteoric iron. That's iron, but from meteors." Though I was unnerved by how her face was suddenly so close to mine, I somehow managed to reply, but it's stupid expensive." "We can afford it. We have enough expenses as is." But we really are going to want a blade, huh? We can use it as a weapon, too." "A weapon?" I tried to imagine myself swinging around one of the knives in the display case. No, what am I going to fight? Sure, if I used my right eye, I think I could cut the monsters from the other world, but... It sucked that upon remembering the time that Satsuki Arima grabbed me by the hair and I instinctively cut it to escape, I couldn't write the idea off as completely ridiculous. I got lucky that time, as I'd happened to have a knife that I had stolen from a cultist on me, but who knows what might have happened if I was empty-handed. Still, an amateur like me arming herself with a knife wasn't realistic. I gave up on it and moved away from the display case. I don't know, maybe it's not for me. Even if I had one for self-defense, I'd probably panic when I needed to pull it out and end up cutting myself. How about something bigger? What, you mean like a katana? No, I'm thinking of something more practical. Don't you want to hack through the underbrush or tall grass? Toriko said, demonstrating with a slashing motion. Oh, you mean not a hatchet? Yeah. We had talked about it when we were building the portable garage. It took too long to mow the grass by hand, so we went out and bought a sickle. Hi, Abby. Cute bear, you. How's it going? When we came back to the other world carrying a sickle and wearing gloves, Kozukura spotted us and said, "Could you do my yard too while you're at it?" Do you think we can walk around with a hatchet? Seems like it'd be heavy and get tiring. We've got the AP1, so we can just keep it there, right? I was half joking about using it as a weapon, but I think it would be useful for splitting firewood and a bunch of other stuff. That does sound useful, but I think I'll hold off on deciding for now. There's a lot of other stuff we need too. Okay. She accepted it so easily, like an obedient child. I gave her a resentful glare out of the side of my eye. She has no idea what I'm going through here. So, how are we going to start a fire? I was thinking a gas burner might work. Toriko's question brought me back to reality. Well, I was planning on getting our fire starter too, but a gas burner does seem like it'd be easiest. Our exploration kit already included waterproof matches, but we had agreed that we needed a more simple and reliable way of starting fires. When night came in the other world, we wanted to be able to avoid a situation where it was pitch dark before we could get our campfire going. In addition to buying more matches, we picked up a fire starter set, which consisted of a magnesium rod with an iron striker, basically the modern equivalent of flint and steel. We would carry them on us as a last resort, but the gas burner was what we were going to use most of the time. Even slightly wet wood could be set alight if we fired a gas canister meant for a camp stove at it. We needed all this firepower if we were going to overcome the task we had set for ourselves. That task was to spend a night on the other side. Up until now, we'd been avoiding the night in the other world. Except for the few times we were thrown over to that side with no warning, we always went through the gate early in the afternoon, and returned in the evening before it got dark, like we were a couple of elementary school girls following their curfew. The night was scary. The other world was bright and empty during the day, but once the sun went down, it was full of bizarre sounds and presences. Back when Satsuki Aruma was still Back when Satsuki Aruma was still human, she had warned Toriko and Kozakura that night was dangerous and told them to avoid it. Based on my own experience, I had to conclude she was right. But I also knew it shouldn't be impossible to stay in the other world. There were indications that Satsuki had done so herself. Pale Horse Battalion had also been able to stay in the other world for a long time after they got trapped at Kisaragi Station, even if they did produce a large number of madmen and fourth kinds in the process. There was Aberrato, too. He'd stayed in the other world for several days, searching for his missing wife. Basically, what I'm getting at is that a night on the other side didn't necessarily have to have fatal consequences. Not immediately, at least. Only being able to operate during the day was a major impediment to our ability to explore. The biggest problem was that we couldn't travel long distances. We could only travel so far from the gates we knew, a limitation that had always frustrated me. I had put up with it when our only means of transportation was our own 2 feet, but now that the AP-1 was faster and could travel further, the only way to expand our range was to set out into the night. That was what the camping goods and the fire were for. On a Friday in mid-December, we set out our final practice run. We entered the other world through Kozakura's front yard and set up our tent next to the gate so we could flee at any time. It was a cute red tent that was large enough for the both of us. Toriko had suggested an unobtrusive green, or to go in the opposite direction with a raincoat yellow or fluorescent green instead, but I had pushed for red. It just feels half-hearted, you know? It doesn't work as camouflage, but doesn't stand out if we get lost either. But it is cute. I want this one. From the moment I saw its picture in the catalog until I set eyes on the genuine article in the store, I was in love. You sure do love cute stuff, Toriko said in exasperation. Oh? Do I? I think I'm pretty normal. We piled up charcoal and firewood next to the tent and ignited the gas burner. The charcoal turned bright red under the burner's fire and burst into flames together with the firewood. We did it! We clapped our hands and smiled at one another in relief. Hunkering down next to the entrance in the tent, we waited for sundown. The western sky turned red, starting at the mountain line, then gradually changed to purple. For an instant, that purple became an incredibly deep blue, so deep it was nearly black. It was a color I'd never seen in the surface world. I had seen the same blue when night came at the beach of the end. The sun set. As we watched the skies, night came to the other world. The field, which had been empty except for the sound of wind through the leaves before, was now filled with the presence of living things. There was a rustling in the grass, voices that could have either been birds or people in the distance. Indistinct whispers carried on the breeze, and a subtle white noise, like tinnitus or radio static. It's about time, huh? Yeah. Standing up, we looked around at the grassy field on which night had fallen. If we were lucky, the flag we set up would still be visible, but... Well, Toriko? I don't see it. Want to try going up on the hill? I'd rather not get too far from the gate, but maybe that's the only way. If it looks dangerous, let's bail right away. Okay, I guess we'll go then. Remaining cautious of anything that might be approaching, we began climbing the hill to the east of the gate together. Every step away from our tent and campfire made me more uneasy. Fortunately, there were no glitches on the hill. We walked through the grass, relying on the stars to light our way. It didn't take long to reach the summit, providing us with a 360-degree field of view. We squinted and started looking around the area again. The mountain ridges and treetops were like shadow pictures on the starry backdrop. Toriko was the first one to spot our flag. Found it! Isn't that it over there? Looking in the direction Toriko was pointing, there was a line of light far off in the darkness, stretching straight up towards the night sky. That was the flag we had raised. Oh, good. It was close enough to see. Can you tell what direction it is? I looked down at the compass, glowing green due to its luminous paint. The unreliable needle shakily pointed. It's roughly northwest, I think. We haven't been that way yet, right? Nope. So... I looked back at Toriko, then nodded. So we've got our first destination. Okay. Before embarking on our first long-distance trip, we talked it over and decided we needed a destination. If we just rocked around randomly without direction, there was a good chance we would run into trouble. That was why we would set another gate as the destination, in order to ensure that we had a way out if we couldn't turn back. For that, we used the farm. We discovered multiple gates at the farm that were connected to places we didn't know. After deciding on one that seemed reasonably safe, we would raise a flag there that would be visible from a distance. Then we would re-enter the other world using the gates at Kazakura's mansion and in Jimbusho, and if the flag was somewhere we could see, we would set it as our destination. That was the plan. The first thing that came to mind was a physical flag. I thought if we got one of those expandable / retractable plastic. Hang on. The first thing that came to mind was a physical flag. I thought if we got one of those expandable / retractable physical plastic poles that they use at events and the front of stores to put up banners, then put a flag on the tip of it, that would be a good, cheap solution. But once I found out that those poles were at most 3 meters long, the idea had to be thrown out. They weren't going to be of any use to us at that height. The next candidate was one of the poles that people fly carp streamers from on Children's Day. If we got a large one, it would be visible from a distance, and if we actually used a pennant as large as the ones they use for carp streamers, it might stand out pretty well. I think it was a good idea, but this one got rejected too. The reasons were cost and hassle involved in setting it up. There were some pretty large poles out there. They easily cost over 100,000 yen and required a solid base on the ground. That meant having to dig a deep hole and install a receptacle for the pole, which was a whole lot of work. If we tried it at one gate and couldn't see the pole we had set up, we would have to try it again at the next one, and we didn't have time for all that busy work. That brought us to our next plan, which was using light. The light from a searchlight was visible from a distance, and we wouldn't have to worry about the wind knocking it over like a pole. I worried they would be too expensive when I went looking, but I was surprised to find we could actually afford one. Handheld miniature searchlight, 16,000 yen. Portable 24-volt power source, 30,000 yen. Sure, that was still expensive, but even if we couldn't use those two items as a flag, we would probably have other uses for them while we were exploring, so I went out and bought the stuff. If we attached a 2,000 yen timer switch to them, we could make them light up automatically right at sunset. We entered the other world through one of the gates at the farm and installed the searchlight. Our first choice was next to a river, with nothing around to obstruct our view of it. There was a rocky area with large stones laying around by the riverside, and we found a flat rock the size of a table there, so we climbed up on top of it and set the searchlight there pointing straight up. Once the timer was set, we returned from the other world to the farm, then went through the round hole to the DS lab and Taimeki Sano. Then, taking the roughly hour-long trip to Tsukuji Koen, we passed through the gate at Kozakura's mansion and went back to the other world. If you consider how much effort all of that took, we were lucky that we were able to see it with the first gate we tried. The DS lab was close to Jinbusho, and the skeletal building let us look out over a wide range, so that would have been a better spot for spotting the searchlight, but we were practicing camping on this side tonight too, so it worked out well that it was visible from the gate at Kozakura's mansion. Yo, Lucia, welcome in. As we watched the pillar of light, there were 3 short cries, like those from a pheasant, from some undetermined location. The wind blew in from the east, making the grass at our feet sway like the hair on our heads. Oh, no worries, no worries. Thank you for checking in. Let's head back, I said, and Toriko nodded, holding her hair in place with her hand. We both hurried down the hill, back to our tent, and stopped at the campfire. The warmth of the fire was reassuring, but the darkness outside grew deeper and deeper, and it looked terrifying. We went inside the tent with our shoes still on. When we pulled the zipper on the entrance down, it was almost pitch black inside. I fumbled for the switch on our LED lantern, and it filled the tent with white light. There were 2 sleeping bags laid out for us on top of an insulating mat on the floor of the tent. We had chosen envelope-style sleeping bags with a zipper on the side, just in case we needed to get out of them in a hurry. They had been advertised as being usable in winter, too, so if we put a blanket over the top of them, they would be more than warm enough. With our pillows inflated and the sleeping bags ready, Toriko gave me a troubled look. What should we do with our shoes when we get in the sleeping bags? Huh. I guess it's safe to take them off, right? Let's leave them somewhere we can put them back on quickly. Gotcha. We took off our shoes and laid them at our bedside, then got into the sleeping bags with our clothes still on. I turned off the LED lantern, and the tent was dark once more. Only a faint outline of our campfire shone through. Well, good night, I said, and Toriko responded in a whisper. Do you think we'll be able to sleep? What else can we do? I mean, it's not even 6 o'clock, right? In the evening? Toriko was right. Even though we were in our sleeping bags, I didn't feel even the slightest bit sleepy. If anything, the tension and excitement were keeping me wide awake. I adjusted my pillow, trying to find the best position for it. We sleep when the sun goes down and wake when it rises. That's what humanity's always done. That was before we had fire, right? Even primitives stayed up later than this. If this were a normal camping experience, things might have gotten more exciting once it was dark out. Everyone eating curry together, singing by the campfire, playing games inside their tents, and talking until they fell asleep. Not that I'd know what that's like. Still, that wasn't going to happen this time. This was our first night in the middle of the other world. We have to stay quiet, you know? There's no telling what might happen, and we needed to run right away if things get dicey. I still think going to sleep at 6 o'clock is overdoing it. Can't we stay up a bit longer? If we leave the lights on and make noise, we won't be able to notice if something weird comes our way. I'm pretty sure Aberado-san must have laid low at night, too. Here we are, camping out alone together, and we can't do more to enjoy it? That's no fun, Toriko said sullenly. Even in the dark, I could see her pouting. I'd noticed this in Okinawa too, but when we were in a situation where you would normally play around, but Toriko wasn't able to, she got super upset about it. We're alone together all the time. But this is our first time camping out, Toriko corrected me, her voice sounding sulky. Was that important? Well, as long as we're not too loud, I think it's okay to talk. Okay, let's talk then. Toriko moved closer, sleeping bag and all. Quietly, okay? Quietly. You got it, Toriko said in a hushed voice. It sounded like she was enjoying herself. The sudden change in attitude made her earlier sulking seem like a lie. When it comes to things like this, she's always more childish than me. Just as I was thinking that, Toriko said something that made her sound like a kid in elementary school. We should have brought snacks. Do you have anything? Snacks? If you want calorie meat or some hard candies, we do have those. Open them up. There's tea, too, right? Where'd we leave the vacuum flask? I think it was over... Hey, wait, this isn't a field trip, okay? Oh, it's fine, it's fine. As we were sipping the steamy tea and munching on the snacks that were supposed to be our portable rations, while speaking in whispers about what equipment we should buy next, and where we should have the after-party, the campfire finally burned out, and it was completely black inside the tent. As we each strained to hear the other's whispers, at some point we had gotten so close we were almost touching. I could feel Toriko's leg touching mine to our sleeping bags and blankets. The moment I noticed it, I instinctively pulled away. Maybe she was surprised by the sudden motion, because Toriko stopped talking. For several seconds, silence fell, and laughing a little, Toriko asked, "Huh? What's that?" Nothing. I just wanted to change positions." "Oh, okay. Did it hurt?" "Nah, I'm fine." Once that oddly evasive exchange was over, Toriko fell silent again. I panicked. When I moved just now, it wasn't because I didn't like her touching me. I was just surprised, and moved reflexively. Before I could blurt out something to that effect, Toriko suddenly whispered, "It's getting cold, huh?" "Huh? Oh, yeah, I guess it is." Now that she mentioned it, I was feeling chilly. I think that with the heat of the fire gone, the air outside was actually colder. "So, these sleeping bags, they've got zippers, right?" "Huh? Yes, and?" I replied, not grasping what Toriko was getting at. "I was thinking, they're the same model, aren't they?" "Yeah, we brought them together." "Maybe we could zip them up together and make one big sleeping bag," the woman lying next to me in the darkness suggested in an incredibly calm, relaxed tone of voice. "What do you think, Sorabo?" "Sorabo?" I was so close I could hear her whispering, but I still couldn't tell what sort of expression was on her face as she said that. In all of our other idle banter, even if I couldn't see her with my eyes, I'd be able to tell exactly what expression she was making, even as it rapidly changed from moment to moment. I took a deep breath and carefully replied, "That might be possible, yes." "Do you want to try it?" Toriko asked without hesitation, and I felt forced into a corner. Now?" I managed to squeak, and I sensed Toriko nodding. "I'm sure we'll both feel warmer that way." Her whispers were so close I could feel her breath. In the darkness, I couldn't even move an inch. I knew the longer I took to respond, the weirder things were going to get, but I was frozen solid. Not long ago, I might have felt confused as well as shaken up, and yet, despite some grumbling, I'd have ultimately done as Toriko said, but now I didn't feel like I could do that at all. Something. I needed to say something. Anything would do. "Let's save that for when it's laid out," or "I'm warm enough," or "It's too much hassle." Anything. The sound of my own gulping was awfully loud. Maybe Toriko heard it, too. I felt her body stiffen in the darkness. Feeling desperate, I opened my mouth. "It's..." "Shh." Toriko exhaled sharply. "Huh?" "Shh. Listen." Now that she said it, I finally noticed. There were footsteps. Someone's footsteps on the grass, approaching us. There was a sound like metal and leather brushing against each other, and I realized Toriko had gone for the Makarov under her pillow. "You think they're alone?" I asked. "Sounds like..." The footsteps came up to the tent, then stopped. I felt like I heard a slight breathing, but no voices beyond that. How long did they stand there? Suddenly, the footsteps started moving again. They changed direction, circling the tent once. Then, without stopping, circled it again. The footsteps didn't stop again. Round and round, clockwise, they continued doing loops around the tent. "This seems safe," I whispered quietly. "Huh?" Toriko was dumbstruck. Are you serious, Sorabo?" I nodded. "It's creepy, but I think we'll be safe if we don't go outside. This happens all the time in ghost stories set in the mountains." "It happens all the time?" The beings of the other world tried to drive people mad with fear. That was the easiest to see with the ones at Kisaragi Station, but they didn't tend to try and cause direct harm. Well, no, there were some dangerous exceptions to that, like the ninja cats and the Katori Bako, but at the very least, after a while, I could say that the footsteps circling our tent showed no signs of changing. So I was convinced this was just that kind of phenomenon. I don't even know how to describe how I felt when I noticed I was actually relieved by this. I knew this fear. I could handle it. I reached for my pillow too. When I felt the cold metal of my Makarov, I settled down. I grabbed the blanket which had slid down and pulled it back over my sleeping bag. "Let's go to sleep." What? You're kidding me, right?" I think it'll actually be safer if we go to sleep so we aren't conscious. Let's sleep. Do you think we can sleep? It felt tense not knowing what might happen, and I was still uneasy. Though I was trying to act tough, I didn't think I was going to be able to get to sleep that easily either. I twisted around in my sleeping bag, huddling closer to Toriko of my own accord. There was an audible gasp from her. I wasn't going to link up our sleeping bag zippers, but I was probably fine with us sleeping close together like this. Good night. Good night. Toriko snuggled up closer to me, and I felt her breath on my forehead. Soon enough, my body, which had been cold, gradually warmed up. Surprisingly, and I was genuinely surprised by this, both of us drifted off to sleep in no time at all. We both woke up, practically at the same time, to the sunlight shining through the fabric of the tent and the chilly morning air. Our faces were so close they were almost touching. We both blinked repeatedly, then jumped up. It's morning! We fell asleep! When we tried to get out of our sleeping bags, I noticed we each had the zipper open on just one side, and we were holding hands to the openings. We must have been squeezing really hard for a long time because my fingers ached horribly. It looked like we had done some skillful maneuvering in our sleep and had also been really, really scared. Falling asleep while quivering in fear in bed, and the next thing you know, it's morning. That's another common trope in ghost stories, I analyzed, as if the whole situation had nothing to do with me. Maybe people were just surprisingly good at sleeping in the midst of terror. Though, it could be more accurate to say we passed out. When we opened the tent door, the chilly air came in with the morning light. Even with the blurry sun of the other world, the sunlight shining on the other side of the hill was plenty bright. Nothing was out of the ordinary outside. If someone really had been circling our tent all night, there should have been some trace of them, but there were no tracks, no items left behind. Nothing. We made it through the night, huh? Toriko said. I simply nodded in agreement. AP1, check. Tent, check. Campfire, check. Destination, check. Camp, check. That was the practice run, over and done with. Now it was finally time for the serious exploration to begin. Welcome in, Milkman. Thank you so much. Welcome. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. It is, in fact, ASMR night. Chapter 4. The day we chose for our first long-distance expedition was a somewhat misty Tuesday, as the year was about to come to a close. The weather forecast said there was a 50% chance that the urban core was going to see its first snow. It was pretty cold. What? You're going today? Of all days, today? Kozakura said, dubiously, furrowing her brow, when we dropped by to give her our regards before setting off. I know it says there's going to be snow, and that does worry me a bit, I admitted. Snow? Well, yeah, there's that too. Kozakura glanced over at one of her screens. The clock displayed in the... The clock displayed in the corner said it would soon be noon. But snow in Tokyo is never anything to write home about anyways. Oh, now you've gone and said it. If someone from Akita and someone from Canada managed to get stranded in the snow, I'm never going to let you hear the end of it, Kozakura said teasingly. Then, readjusting her attitude, she continued. But hold on, the snow of that side might be different, right? If it piles up, you'll have a serious problem on your hands. Hello, Vague Mango. How's it going? Welcome in. By the same token, it's also dubious whether this side's forecast applies to the other world. I took a peek in the gate just now, and the sky was clear in every direction, so I think we'll be fine, I said. You just casually pop in and out of bizarre places. I really don't like it. We're doing everything we can to prepare, so we'll be okay, Toriko piped in. Well, if you're both okay with it, I'm fine, Kozakura said in resignation, leaning back in her chair. We're heading out now, so do you want to come see us off? I asked, but Kozakura slowly shook her head. I'll pass. When I do things I normally wouldn't, I feel like it sets an event flag and I don't like it. Is that how it works? You two can just run off like always and come back the same as ever. When should I expect you? Tomorrow? That's the plan. Okay. Kozakura looked back to the monitor, not even glancing in our direction anymore. Take care. And try to be careful. Seriously. Okay. Later. We'll be right back. Toriko and I walked out the front door of Kozakura's house, and then through the gate to the other world, as usual. The sky in the other world was faintly cloudy, the same as it was in the surface world today. The wind was blowing in from the northwest, and it was pretty cold. If someone told me it was about to snow, I'd probably agree, but the air didn't feel that humid, so it probably wouldn't accumulate. That was the sense I got as someone who grew up in snow country. We took the AP-1 out of the portable garage and loaded up the equipment for our expedition, which was in storage. Onto it. A folded-up tent, sleeping bags, a toolbox, shovel, crowbar, waterproof sheet, rope, bottles of potable water, a bundle of gardening poles we could place as guideposts. With our backpacks and 2 assault rifles hanging somewhere we could get our hands on them quickly, we were ready to head out. We're not forgetting anything, right? Toriko asked, taking one last look inside the portable garage. I pointed to each item in my luggage as I checked it was there. I think I'm good. Okay, pretty sure I am too. We checked the direction one more time, then boarded the AP-1. Riding it felt a lot better now with the new seat cushions. I started the engine and turned the body towards the direction we were heading, then looked at Toriko, who looked back at me. All right, time to set out. Go, go! The new and improved AP-1's rubber treads trampled the grass as we started to move forward. The AP-1 was originally meant to work in the fields, so once it got going, it could continue at a constant speed without stepping on the accelerator. But this was the other world. The ground wasn't level like the fields on a farm. It was bumpy, with big ups and downs. That's why I needed to watch our direction carefully and make little course corrections to keep us from flipping over. There were also glitches to watch out for on top of that, so it was a lot to manage. I looked ahead with my right eye, then we both threw bolts to check that it was safe and occasionally set up gardening poles as guideposts. There was fluorescent tape wrapped around the tips of the poles, so we would be able to see them in the dark if we shone a light on them. I think we set out around 1 p.m. The first hour breezed by. If we took the vehicle specs Natsumi gave me at face value, we'd have already gone 10 kilometers, but with all the detours and slowdowns, I'd have to guess we'd gone 7, maybe 8 at best. The vibrations were making my butt hurt, and my concentration was fraying, so we decided to take a break. I found an old vending machine covered in ivy standing on its own, and parked the AP-1 next to it. When I turned off the engine, silence returned to the other world. Because the AP-1 was the only thing here that made a lot of noise, the recoil when it stopped made this place sound incredibly quiet. Huh, this is pretty tiring, huh? We got out of our seats and stretched and drank some water while we rested for a while. In between sips from her bottle of water, Toriko pressed her face up close to the vending machine. Looks like it's broken. It's well beyond just broken. This thing's a wreck. Jeez. From what I could see of it through the vines, the cans on the other side of the yellow plastic were sun-bleached to the point that they were almost completely white. But still, if there was a working vending machine here, wouldn't you want to buy something just to see what would happen? I get where you're coming from, but even if we could buy something, there's no way I'd drink it. In that case, we could sell it to Kozakura, or... Oh, I know! We brought a crowbar! How about we bust this thing open? It's not shining in my right eye, so it's probably just pieces of debris. Aww. No, don't aw me. If there was a swarm of bugs when we opened it, you wouldn't like that, would you? Yeah, you got a point. I wouldn't. Though she wasn't happy about it, Toriko gave up on the idea. It's not like I wasn't curious, but our goal this time was to open a new route. There were places of interest dotted around the other world, but we couldn't stop and investigate every single one of them. It'd never end. Putting the lid back on my bottle of water, I turned to look back the way we had come. We didn't know how far it was to our destination, so we were being as conservative as possible when placing guideposts. There was only one that I could see from here. It was a yellow marker next to the tracks left by the AP-1 as it crushed the grass. Hey, Sorabo, what do you want to name this road? Huh? Isn't Route 2 good enough? Let's give it more of a proper name. Route 1 was fine because it was the first road we made. Okay, then you come up with something, Toriko, I said, unable to be bothered doing it myself, and Toriko just sort of stared at me in confusion. Me? You're okay with that? I have no sense for names. Come up with a good one. Okay. I wasn't all that invested in the outcome when I said it, but Toriko put a hand on her chin and started thinking seriously. Wait, was it that big of a deal? After around a 10-minute break, we started moving again. This time, we traded seats, so Toriko was in the driver's seat on the right, while I sat on the left. Suddenly, it hit me that Toriko was being awfully quiet. The name can wait. You need to focus. If the AP1 hits a glitch, we'll be calling this the Road of Tears and Distracted Driving or something like that. Got it? But that sounds awful. I don't care how it sounds, as long as it makes you regret it every time we come through here. You're mean. We continued across the grassy field, taking occasional breaks, and swapping drivers whenever we did. Our route twisted and turned a little because we detoured around rocky areas and forests, but we followed the compass in a more or less northwesterly direction. It hasn't made much of a difference over the short distance we've traveled, so I didn't think much about it, but this shaking worries me over long distances, Toriko said, glaring at the swaying compass needles. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. Whoops. We're aiming for roughly the middle of the needle's swing, but I think that's going to take us further and further off course. It was a good idea, using the searchlight, but it's kind of inconvenient that we can only see it at night, huh? Well, yeah. We're going to have to come up with something that works during the daytime, too. We should build the highest mast we can and fly a flag from it, right? I don't care what we use, as long as we can see it from a distance, but there's limits to what we can do with a physical pole. It'll fall over if the wind is too strong, but if there's no wind, the flag won't flap and we won't be able to see it. What if we got something lighter than the ones for the carp streamers? You were telling me about it before, remember? The festival in Akita where they hang a bunch of lanterns from bamboo poles? Akita Kanto? Yeah, that's the one. You use some long bamboo poles in that. They probably hold up well in the wind, too. Can we buy something like that? What would we do for the flag? Oh my gosh, what? Somebody just resubbed. That's, cool. Thank you so much for the resub, whoever did that. I appreciate it. I'll have to remember to set the reminder for the bonus wheel on Tuesday. Where was I? Oh, that was you, Hisui. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Where am I? Where was I at? Hang on. Ah, there it is. Thank you again. Yeah, it's weird. Wait, you just... At tier 2? Oh my god, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's so sweet. Thank you, Hisui. Thank you so much. I need to remember... Hang on, let me write this down. I have to make sure to give you your you have to update your role appropriately. Cool, there we are. A little bit of keyboard ASMR for you there for a little bit. Okay, where was I at? Oh, there it is. Can we buy something like that? What would we do for the flag? Stick a mirror on the end, or stick a mirror on the end, or wrap reflective film around it. I bet we could see the reflected light from a long way away. I was impressed and looked back at Toriko, who seemed proud of what she'd come up with. You sure are smart, Toriko. Really? Aw, shucks. Toriko said, tilting her head towards me. Give me a pat. Huh? Are you a dog? I said despite myself, confused by the sudden request. If you won't pat me, I'm gonna rub your face, Sorrow. What? My eyes darted about for no good reason. There was nobody here to see us. Obviously, on this grassy field, yellowed in winter, there was only me and Toriko. Honestly, I might have almost felt reassured if Satsuki Arima was still standing there. But now I had only two options. Pat Toriko's head, or have her rub my face. Toriko shook her head, urging me to do it. How brazen. Having no other choice, I put my hand up and placed them on her golden locks. Good girl. Good, that's the way to do it, Toriko said once I gave her a perfunctory petting. What? Who made you the boss? I withdrew my hand, not sure what to make of this, and Toriko returned to her previous position. Then she resumed throwing bolts, as if nothing had happened, except now she had a satisfied smile on her face. I looked down at my hands, feeling left behind. Was that the right thing to do? I'd been wearing gloves, so the lingering feeling in my hands felt awfully vague. Apologies for the... I think you might be able to hear my cat, like, she's lying on some stuff and kind of rustling about as she grooms herself, so I hope that's not too loud. But hopefully it's, like, pleasant white noise? Pleasant ASMR noise? I don't know, cat crinkles ASMR. In any case, let's see here. Chapter 5. It was 4 p.m. The sun hid behind the thick, low-hanging clouds, leaving the area around us a little dark. In another hour, it would set entirely. If we were going to camp, we needed to find a place to set up our tent soon. The AP-1 was descending the slope into a depression surrounded by hills on all sides. The grass had been torn up, exposing the bare ground, and there were piles of trash on it. In the middle of household garbage, like snack boxes and disposable plastic bottles. There was larger trash, like a broken CRT TV, old tires, and a dresser covered in stickers from a children's program. I could see a silver light deep inside the mountain of trash, making it easy to guess that this was some sort of glitch. Other glimmers suggested there were more items with aberrant properties mixed in with the garbage. We took a route around the trash pile while talking about coming back to dig through it later. Then, as we looked back in the direction we were headed, which was the opposite side of the depression, we both gulped. We could see a silhouette of an animal on the ridge ahead of us. It had straight legs, like an herbivore. I thought it was looking our way, but it didn't move at all. It just stood there, the gray sky at its back. I engaged the brakes. Next to me, Toriko picked up the binoculars and looked through them. Can you see it? I can. I don't think it's alive. Probably. Toriko handed me the binoculars, so I looked through them too. She was right. It wasn't just not moving, it was frozen solid. The texture of the body didn't look alive either. I didn't know if it was stone or metal, but it looked inorganic. What animal is it modeled on? I wondered. Is it a sheep or a cow? I can't make out the head, so it's hard to figure out what the silhouette is supposed to... I nearly dropped the binoculars. Sorrow? Toriko looked at me suspiciously, noticing something was up. I couldn't respond. Sorrow, what's wrong? Ku? It's a kudan. No way. Toriko snatched the binoculars away from me and took another look. You're right. Creepy. Lowering the binoculars, Toriko looked over at me and saw how stiff I was. You want me to go on ahead and take a look? She asked considerately. I shook my head. I'll go with you. All right. Toriko picked up her rifle and checked that it was loaded, then laid it on her knee. I started the AP-1. The engine got louder, and we began ascending the hill out of the depression. When we reached the ridgeline, there was a Kadan statue there. It had the body of a calf and the face of a person. I had been preparing myself for it to be my father's face again, but it was vague, not looking like anyone's face in particular. This wasn't a stone or bronze statue. The figure was plastic, and the paint was stripping. Its feet were rooted to a concrete slab, like something you might see at a playground in the park in the countryside. Sorrow, look! When Toriko called my name, I was finally able to tear my eyes away from the Kudan statue. For the first time, I saw the scenery beyond the ridge. There was a road at the bottom of the grassy slope. It was paved. There were guardrails along the road, and beyond them it dropped off, and there was a river. It's a river! I raised my voice despite myself. If this river connected to the one on the other side at the gate at the farm, that meant we were getting pretty close to our goal. We decided to leave the creepy Kudan statue alone and headed down the slope. When we got closer, it became apparent that the road was fairly old. Grass grew through the cracks, and there were noticeable potholes. The road snaked along the river, heading more or less northeast. We got down out of the AP-1 and looked around the area. I put my hands on the guardrail and looked over the edge. This side had a concrete levee, I think? This side had a concrete levee, dropping straight down into the river. On the opposite bank, there was a river beach with uneven round stones all over it. The current was decently fast and flowed from the northeast. We set up the searchlight on a beach like that. Didn't we? You think the place we're going is on the opposite bank, maybe? Toriko asked, observing the far shore. Could be. If so, we'll have to cross somewhere. In terms of direction, which way should we be heading? It should be upstream, I think, though I feel like that'll take us a bit further away from it, too. We looked up at the darkening sky. The wind had gotten colder, and that forecast for snow was sounding more and more realistic. We could give up for today and pitch a tent, or we could bet it's not far now and keep on going, right? The searchlight wasn't set to turn on until after sunset, so we didn't know how far or in what direction our destination was. That made this harder to decide. What should we do? It was a waste of time to overthink it. I broke free from my hesitation and spoke up. Do you mind if we keep going? I think we can put up the tent without the pegs in 5 minutes. If it gets dark, we should still be able to take shelter quickly. I had anticipated this sort of situation, so I bought a tent with a fly sheet and inner tent combined so it could be set up in a short period of time. My decision wasn't made purely on the fact that it looked adorable or anything. Toriko furrowed her brow. Theoretically, sure, it might be possible, but in an emergency when we're flustered, we'll make mistakes. I wouldn't do this if I was on my own, but if you're there to watch, that puts me at ease. If I mess something up, you've got my back, right? Toriko blinked as if she was surprised. I'm happy that you trust me like that, but... Oh, fine. I've got your back. Leave it to me. I'm counting on you. Our AP-1 raced full speed down the Riverside Road as darkness approached. Natsumi was right. 25 kilometers per hour was nothing to make light of. Even in its current state, this was still a paved road. The rubber tracks spun quickly, crossing cracks and potholes. There was occasionally the glint of a glitch, but visibility was good here, so there was no risk of missing one. After driving for about 10 minutes, there was a change in the scenery. Buildings began to appear on both sides of the river, and the number of them gradually increased. Ashen gray ruins covered in rust and grass. The way they had so many identical windows facing onto the river made me think of a housing complex or a hotel. Their fire escapes were rusty, with the paint peeling, and they had even collapsed in many places. The river snaked along, overlooked by ruins on each bank, and turned towards the northwest. The way we had originally been headed. Feeling a little relieved, we were able to chat casually about how one ruin or another looked like it'd be worth exploring. We should come back sometime. Then... Sorowo, stop! I engaged the brakes as Toriko's shout echoed. There was something lying on the road up ahead. A person? The white limbs cast across the asphalt looked feminine. We got down from the AP-1 and approached cautiously, with guns drawn. It wasn't human. The creature had the body of a woman, clad in a thin kimono, and the head of a calf. It wasn't moving, nor did it show any sign of breathing. It was strangely glossy from the top of its head to the tips of its unsettling toes, and even the kimono it was wearing. Toriko tried throwing a bolt, and it bounced off with a loud clink. The thing's made of glass, Toriko said quietly. It was a monster with the face of a cow and the body of a woman. A cow woman. No, it wasn't even that. It was a glass sculpture. There, lying on the road. What is this thing? I had no answer to Toriko's question. This made no sense to me. But if we were seeing this right after the Kudan statue, it seemed unquestionable that something was happening and I was the target. Sorowo? What? You okay? I looked down, following Toriko's gaze, and realized at some point I had wrapped my arms around myself, with my hands grasping my upper arms, and I was shuddering. Unconsciously, my grip got stronger, and even with conscious effort, I wasn't able to loosen it. Once I'd managed to let go of my arms, and was able to look down at my quivering fingers, there were white flakes in the palms of my hands. It was snow. Little snowflakes fluttered down from the deep gray sky. The dry snow looked almost like ash. That was when the sun, hidden behind the clouds, set. I could feel a sudden change in the air. It felt like the babbling of the river, which we had been hearing all this time, stopped for an instant. There was the gust of wind down the slope to our right, which faced the road. The road along the river darkened as we watched, the last lingering light of daytime fading fast. At the same time, there was a light in the corner of my vision, and we both looked left. On the opposite side of the river, to the northwest, there was a pillar of light rising. There it is! That was our searchlight. It was close, too. Even eyeballing it, I could tell it was only a kilometer, maybe even less. If we hurried, we could make it there, but of course it's on the opposite shore. I ground my teeth. Sorry, looks like we might have to pitch a tent here after all. Here? Toriko said in a low voice, looking at the glass figure lying at the road. She looked both ways, then walked over to the guardrail and leaned over it to stare intently upstream. Whoa, that's dangerous, Toriko. Toriko turned back to look at me as I tried to stop her, then pointed upstream. Over there, look! Hello, CJ. Ear blowing? I will get that for you as soon as we are at the next chapter slit. Beyond the gentle leftward curve in the river, I could see some sort of lattice structure. It wasn't possible to make out the details from here, but it looked like it continued from the road out onto over the river. A bridge! I shouted as it hit me. Looks like it. Let's keep on going. We jumped on the AP-1 and took off at once. Giving the glass figure of the cowwoman a wide berth, we picked up speed and raced down the road without streetlights. At this point, I realized something pretty important. We had no headlights. While I swore that, if I made it back in one piece, I was definitely going to install some lights, Toriko pulled out her own flashlight and turned it on. I could see snowflakes dancing across the ring of light on the road. The snow was building up as we watched. Our AP-1 left clear tracks in the thin, white, ash-like snowflakes covering the asphalt. In the northwest, the pillar of light flickered out. That was my fault for cheaping out on the batteries and setting it to go out over only a short amount of time. Shoot. I should have made it stay on for an hour at least. Things might be bad over on the right. Prepare yourself before you look, Toriko said in a tense voice. I turned to look and gulped. There were a number of four-legged silhouettes on the slope. Kudans. They weren't statues this time. Their bodies heaved with each breath, their feet shifted, their tails swayed. They were alive. The whites of their eyes stood out awfully well in their shadowed faces, staring at us with human eyes. Huh? Just now, Toriko cried out in surprise, snapping me back to my senses. Her eyes were wide, and she was looking behind us. What's wrong? There was someone walking. Huh? I turned to look despite myself. It was so dark back there, I couldn't even see the tracks the AP-1 had left behind it. What were they like? It was a woman, like the one we just saw. Toriko trailed off for a second, then shouted, There she is again! My eyes snapped back to the front. This time I saw her too, a woman, next to the guardrail, stumbling along, wearing nothing but a red kimono. Her steps were unsteady, and little horns protruded from her head. As we got closer, I smelled rust. It was the cowwoman. We both stared vacantly, unable to react as we drove past. Soon, she was swallowed up by the darkness. Was that her? Toriko asked. I think it was the same one as before, I replied. As we drove on in confusion, once again, the woman in the red kimono appeared ahead of us on the left. Her kimono hung open. Her limbs were too pale. She smelled of blood, and she had the head of a cow, exactly the same as before. The AP-1 passed the woman again, and again, and again. Gradually, the rate of her appearance sped up. I had a feeling the number of bovine shadows with human faces to the ridge to our right were increasing too. 1 second, sorry, just 1 second. We're still not there? I cried out in disbelief, unable to hold it in anymore. If that thing we had seen earlier was really a bridge, it probably should have shown up by now. Could we have gone past the bridge? We can't have. I've been looking the whole time, Toriko said, never taking her eyes off the left side of the road. Do you see anything with your eyes, Sorobo? I've been looking for a while now, but I don't even know. There'd been no new developments for over 10 minutes now. If anything, the situation was degenerating. More and more, I questioned my own sanity. We were driving down a road to nowhere, with only a single flashlight to light our way. This is getting bad, isn't it? The more time passed, the more terror crept into Toriko's voice. Not good. I already felt like I was losing it, but if they got Toriko too, we were finished. I pulled out my Makarov and leaned towards Toriko. Sorobo? Taking aim at the back of the cowwoman up ahead, I pulled the trigger. A muzzle flash lit up the darkness. The cowwoman's head was thrown back as if she'd been pushed from behind. I took another shot from the moving vehicle. My bullet struck the cowwoman in the side of the head. She crumpled, vanishing behind us. Was that okay? Toriko asked, and I shook my head before answering. I don't know. The AP-1 raced onwards as we held our breath, not knowing what might happen next. Eventually, a familiar sight appeared up ahead. The cowwoman collapsed on the road, and her red kimono hanging open. She wore the same outfit as before and had fallen the same way. The only thing that had changed was the texture. She didn't have the glossy appearance of glass, but didn't seem soft and limp like a corpse would be either. A Kudan stood next to the cowwoman, as if nuzzling up to her. Its head was lowered, lapping at the corpse's blood. Can we run it over? Does this thing have the power to do that? That idea crossed my mind, but I gave up on it. If I got carried away and ended up damaging our precious AP-1, that would be pretty terrible. Seeing no other choice, I stopped the AP-1. The Kudan stopped licking the blood and slowly raised its head. We both screamed. The face of the Kudan that looked up at us, covered in the blood from the nose down, was mine. Anyways, in between chapters now, I will pick that up right after doing some ear blowing. Let's try it. I haven't done it before, I don't think, but let's give it a shot. There, I hope that was good. Also, it's by Kirby. Okay. Chapter 6. Toriko and I both froze, our guns still aimed at the creature. My face was attached to the body of a cow with messy hair and clouded eyes. I felt my mind retreating from that corpse-like gaze and the saliva dripping from blood-stained lips. Its mouth opened and spoke. "The red person," my voice said. "The red person came." "Oh, I see." I listened to my own voice as if in a daze. "I'm forgetting. Who was the red person again?" "Do you really have to go? Is it not too soon?" I said. "I told that person too. It's terribly unfair, would you not agree?" I shook my head in distress. "I must light a fire to welcome them. If I do not feel heat and pain, it will not be fair." I nodded, and gunfire echoed, blasting a hole in my forehead. Letting out what seemed like a sigh, I lowered my face and crumpled to the street. I blinked, as if waking from a dream. There was a thin puddle of blood, and so like someone had thrown a balloon filled with it on the ground, and the Kudan and the cowwoman were nowhere to be seen. I looked beside me, and Torika was holding her AK, looking at the puddle of blood in dumb shock. Smoke rose from the muzzle. "Sorry, Sorobo, I shot it," Toriko said, stumbling over her words. I couldn't take it anymore." I wanted to say something, but I couldn't get the words out. Instead, I shook my head. In between quivering breaths, Toriko slowly lowered her gun. I noticed a vague brightness around us and looked up. At some point, we had ended up in front of a ruined building. Light from a neon sign turned the snow pink and blue. It was missing letters and emitted an insect-like hum. Even if it hadn't been broken, we couldn't have read it. Text from the surface world was indecipherable in the other world. I couldn't hear the river anymore. Looking around, the snow-covered fields and empty lots stood out. It was like we were at a dilapidated roadside building in the country. The neon sign shone cold and alone in the vastness of night, without a single streetlight to keep it company. Based on the privacy wall in front of the building and the list of prices, as well as the green vinyl curtain covering the entrance to the parking lot, I concluded that this ruin had to have been a love hotel. And yet, I knew this hotel. "We weren't here before. What's going on?" Toriko held her AK close to her, wary of her surroundings. "I dunno, but do you remember the building we went inside that time with the Yamanoke?" "You mean the observation platform? Every time it turned, the other world changed a bit, right? I think something like that's going on here." "And what it brought out was this, hotel?" "Sorry, this might be my fault." "Huh? Why?" Though it felt a bit awkward, I told her, "I think I know this place." "Why?" "Because I've been inside." "What do you mean?" Toriko's eyes were wide. I couldn't read what the sign said, but one glance was enough for me to remember it. On that day, I'd been lured in by the neon sign too. During my high school years, when I didn't want to go back to my house because it had become a hangout for cultists, I went from one abandoned building or ruin to another, searching for a safe place to hide. One day in winter, I found a place the place I found was a love hotel in the suburbs. The building was pitch dark and clearly abandoned, but the neon sign was still lit up for some reason. Figuring it must not have been long since they went under, I went inside. Only the sign was getting electricity because none of the lights worked. Though the first floor had been torn apart, once I smashed through the plywood that was blocking the stairs to the upper floors, those were untouched. Wandering through the cluttered, dusty building with a flashlight in hand, I found a relatively intact room near the emergency exit and decided to settle in there. Then, after staying for a time, I went back to my house. When I gave that simple explanation, Toriko looked up at the neon sign, her face filled with emotion. "Oh, yeah? So this is a place from your memories, then?" Well, I guess you could say that." I winced a bit when she summed it up using words that were prettier than the reality of the situation. "Huh? But hold on. Is it possible we ended up here because I shot that thing?" "There's no point worrying about it. I have absolutely no idea what the logic behind it is." A gust of wind blew past, chilling our bodies, which were sweaty from terror. "Catch up! Welcome in, welcome in! Hello, Raiders! Welcome, welcome! Hello, Catch Up. How was your stream? How was your ASMR stream? I hope it was good. I hope hope it was a good ASMR stream. How was it? Catch up raid, let's go. Hello, catch up. Hello, everybody who came in with Catch Up's raid. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Sucrose Yirishigeki, Kumajo in training. I am a variety streamer and a magical girl bear VTuber. I mostly focus on retro style content. I also do cozy content and ASMR on Sunday nights, which is what we're doing right now. Stream was good. Oh, excuse me, 1 second. Stream is good. Chat kept you busy with trigger word streams again. That's good. That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear it. But yes, tonight we are doing a story reading. We are reading a light novel by the name of Otherside Picnic. We are reading file number 15, which is called Overnight on the Other Side. It's to kind of give a brief explanation of it. It's two college-age girls who find ways into like an alternate world, and the two of them go on like expeditions into it to try to like find like artifacts and also kind of to hunt SCP style monsters, sort of. It is a Yuri light novel, so the relationship angle to it is very much a slow burn, but we have at least gotten to the point where feelings have been confessed at this point, even though things have not quite managed to advance, so to speak. Hello, Katie Fur. How's it going? Woo, feelings, yes. But yes, we do have trigger redeems. So if anybody from Catch Up's side of things, if you guys want to put in requests, you are more than welcome to do that. I will get to redeems in between chapters as I can, or if I get to like good stopping points. But also Catch Up, if you have a particular ASMR request you'd like to make, please let me know. Don't worry about channel points, so we'll get that for you. Okay. Oh, also, of course, if you and your raiders need to raid and run, I completely understand that. Please take care of yourselves post-stream. But if you do want to hang out for some more cozy times and some story time, please feel free to hang out. You're more than welcome to be here, and I'm super happy to have you. Good girl, please pronounce her she and her. Absolutely, Katie. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and get catch-ups first because he raided in, but then I will get yours right after. Okay, 1 second here, catch up. Katie's a regular of yours? Oh my gosh, it's lovely to meet you, Katie. There you go, catch up. I hope that was good. Okay. Is there anything, before I start this, Katie, is there anything in particular you would like some affirmations about? If you're dealing with anything in particular, you don't have to go into details, but if you just want to give me something slightly vague, you can. Otherwise, I'm perfectly happy to just give you some general affirmations. You pass out in his stream most of the time. I see. But let me see here. Yeah, if you have, like I said, if you have something specific, let me know. Otherwise, it'll just be generic. Getting through the week. Absolutely. Katie, I know we're about to start a new week, and that can be kind of intimidating. Yeah. It's sometimes difficult to make it through. Trust me, I know. But I think you are going to do just fine. You're going to do a wonderful job. It might be difficult. It might be a struggle even, but you will do it. Absolutely. Because you are enough. You are capable. And you are a very good girl. You are such a good girl, Katie. And because of that, I know that whatever this week has to throw at you, you will be able to take it on and power through it. And before you know it, it'll be the weekend again. It's always rough getting to the end of a Sunday night, knowing that the week is about to start. Because it can be difficult. It can be hard, especially if you don't have a whole lot of free time to yourself outside of the weekend. But you know what? I guarantee you, you will get through each day, day by day. And before you know it, it's going to be Friday night. And then it'll be the weekend again. And you will get to have a wonderful time. You've got this. You are a very, very good girl, Katie. And you have got this. I believe in you. You've got this. You're a very good girl. A very good girl, Katie. And makeup brushes. Okay. I see what you mean about chat keeping you busy with redeems. Ketchup. I don't mind. Okay. I do need to get my larger brush back down here at some point, but smaller one still works for the moment, so. I think this is audible. Should be. My turn now, apparently. It's fine. It's been a minute since I've done just a redeem heavy stream. I should do it again soon, because I do enjoy doing them. It's just between, cozy gaming and the storytime reading. They're a little few and far between. I should fix that. It's just also, Pocopia calls my name. Ketchup is a cutie. It's true. He is. It's very true. Short but cute. Well, he is a teddy bear after all. That makes sense. Okay, there we go. I hope that was good, Katie. I hope you enjoyed. Okay, I am gonna get back to the story reading. Night time, of course, Floob. Thank you for stopping in and saying hello. What was I saying again? Right. Oh, right, we didn't actually finish the chapter. Whoops. All right. You lurk? Absolutely. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate the lurk support. Sorry to read and run. You need to request. Yeah, absolutely. Catch up, please. Have a good night. Catch up. Good night. Okay. A gust of wind flew past. I'm trying it again. A gust of wind blew past, chilling our bodies, which were sweaty from terror and tension. Toriko shivered and looked up to the starry sky. Dancing snowflakes looked beautiful in the neon light. I feel like the snow's getting heavier. Yeah. What do you want to do? Put up the tent here? I considered it. When we wandered into a different aspect of the other world and encountered the Yamanoke, we were able to go back to where we came from when the revolving observation platform returned to its original position. Would the same happen here when time passed? Or was there some condition we needed to satisfy? After encountering the time-space man, when we came back from a deep place in the other world, we were able to open a direct path home using my eye and Toriko's hand. I looked around with my right eye to see if there was anything that would let us do that again, but there was none of that silver shimmer that we could use as a starting point. It was too dark and too cold to try anything else. Even if this was a different aspect of the other world, surely morning would still come. In our current situation, now that we had lost sight of the bridge we were heading towards, it was probably best to shut out the outside world and sleep until it was bright out. But I was too scared of the snow to try pitching a tent outside. I didn't know how much would fall, and if we were exposed to the wind, that would make it really cold. I looked to Toriko, who was waiting for my response with a tense look on her face. Want to try going inside? Inside? The Love Hotel. The Love Hotel? Toriko shouted out, like she had lost the ability to do anything more than parrot words back to me. I nearly burst out laughing. Okay, we're doing it, Toriko. We're going to a love hotel together. But sorry, this love hotel is an abandoned ruin. I held the light and Toriko held her AK ready as we peered behind the green vinyl curtain. There was room inside for 5 cars and all the spots were empty. Now that we had checked it was safe, I got back in the driver's seat and drove the AP-1 inside the parking lot. Meanwhile, Toriko kept a watchful eye on the surrounding area. Once I turned off the engine, it was suddenly very quiet. Our footsteps echoed through the little parking lot lit only by a flashlight. With no power to the automatic door that led further inside, we got out a long crowbar, stuck it in a gap, and forced it open together. Putting the heavy, long crowbar back on the AP-1, we grabbed our respective backpacks and sleeping bags and got ready to explore. I took a handheld crowbar that could double as a nail remover and hung it from a tool belt at my waist along with a bag full of bolts. Toriko was even more incredible. She had a serious 2-handed axe with a leather sheath attached to the outside of her thigh. Can you use that? I've chopped a lot of firewood. That was when I was still a kid, though. No, but still, you don't need one that's that big, do you? For someone my height, this one this long is actually easier to use. Don't I look good with it? It's not a matter of whether or not you look good with it. You do, though. Oh, good. They say an axe makes a woman look beautiful, after all. I've never heard that before. Regardless, with our preparations complete, we went inside the hotel. Ooh, we have a picture. Hang on. Let me find it. I think it's this. Yes, okay. Let me go ahead here and... So it is, let me see here. I think, yeah, okay. It is Sorrow right here with the flashlight and Toriko standing next to her with the axe as they make their way into the hotel. Let me see here. I proceeded down the hall with an assault rifle on my back and a flashlight and Makarov in my hands. We soon came to a stonework lobby. It was cold and empty, and the panels that guests would have used to choose a room were all dark. Shards of shattered vases and dried-up bundles of flowers littered the floor. Using my crowbar to pry open the door to get behind the front desk, I headed behind the privacy panel. I looked all over the keys to the different rooms on the wall until I found one that had a different key holder from all the rest. There, I think this is it. What's that? The master key. I hear every hotel has a key that opens all the rooms. Once I explained that, Toriko's eyes sparkled. Wow, Sorrow, you were really used to this sort of thing, huh? I don't think it's anything praiseworthy, but I've done it a lot. That was when I was still a kid, though. That was only 3 years ago, max. Besides, I'm still a kid now. Is something wrong? Whenever I was feeling down, Toriko noticed, but I couldn't do the same myself, you know. I sighed. Let's go. We'll find a decent room and get some sleep. Okay. With the elevators out of service, we decided to use the employee stairs. Like when I had come, they were sealed off with plywood. I was about to use my crowbar to pry the way open, but Toriko stopped me, unsheathed her axe, breathing wildly through her nostrils. A dreadful snapping and cracking echoed through the whole hotel, and the way upstairs was open. "Sorry, didn't mean to make so much noise." "Well, what's done is done. The way's open now, at least," I said, trying to assuage Toriko's feelings, then cleared what remained of the plywood and started climbing. When we reached the second floor, there was a cold draft, as if a window had been left open somewhere, so we kept going. The third floor was in pretty good shape, so we decided to search for a place to sleep there. "I hear there are people who have girls-only parties," I said. We're at the end of that, so. And Toriko looked at me dubiously. "What's this about?" "Girls' parties at love hotels." "Oh. It's a lot like what we're doing, I'll bet." Toriko slowly shook her head. "I think it's totally different." We both sounded confident, but we weren't in a good place mentally. At an unfamiliar place in the other world at night, with no idea as to where we were, it would have been weird if we weren't feeling at least some degree of psychological strain. Though I was doing my best not to dwell on it, I had no idea what was up with this building we'd wandered into. It was clear this wasn't the place from my memories exactly, just very similar, as if someone had created a highly accurate replica by reading my mind. What the hell? Why does a building like this exist? If I thought about it even a little, I was going to go insane. As I kept the doubts that were constantly trying to surface at bay, we went around opening rooms with the master key and clearing them. We ran into broken furniture, mold on the walls and floors, and leaky ceilings, but after a number of misses, we finally hit a good room. It looked undamaged, and if we could just overlook some dust, it was perfectly viable. Being halfway between the employee stairs and the emergency exit was also convenient if we considered we might need to flee. There was a bath to the left of the entrance, and on the right was the door to the toilet and a sink. Water had been cut off, though, and the TV obviously wouldn't turn on. I tried taking a look inside the fridge, but it was empty. No amenities to speak of. I wouldn't have touched them if there were, but when they weren't there, it still felt like I was missing out on something. But that was fine. So long as I had this big bed that dominated the center of the room, that was good enough for me. However, though I had thought I would be fine with my sleeping bag and the blankets from the bed, an unheated hotel in the winter was colder than I imagined. Even if there wasn't any obvious damage to the interior, this place was still a ruin. There was a persistent draft coming in from somewhere. We put our larger things down next to the bed and headed out of the room for a bit. Using the flashlight to light up the wall near the elevator, we were able to find a keyhole. It needed a different type of key than the master one we had, so I slid the end of my crowbar into the gap in the wall panel and pried it open. Inside was a shelf, and it was packed full of linens. Heading back and making the bed with the sheets and pillow covers we'd acquired, we also piled up the blankets we'd collected. With all of these, we probably wouldn't freeze to death. We lit up an LED lantern and put it down on the glass table. Then we boiled water with a camp stove of the variety that used gas canisters. Considering how bad the draft was, we didn't need to worry about carbon dioxide asphyxiation. Pouring boiling water into a seafood flavor package of cup noodle, I waited for 2.5 minutes. I just knew instant ramen was going to taste way more delicious in the other world than it did in the surface world. When I had finished eating, I boiled some more water to make instant coffee. A sip of steamy coffee with some salty yocon jelly as a snack, and I was finally able to settle down. "See, this is already starting to feel like a love hotel girls' party," I said, but Toriko stubbornly shook her head. "It's absolutely not. I mean, we came to a love hotel, ate and chatted, right? It's different, okay? This isn't a girls' party." "What would you know about girls' parties, Toriko?" "More than you, at least, Sorrow." "Oh, yeah? Is that right? Well, let's hear it then. What are girls' parties like?" "Well..." For the next little while, we argued back and forth about what the girls' parties that people who were not us were supposed to be like, or went to were supposed to be like. Neither of us had any experience or knowledge, so it was an argument that could never amount to anything. "Fine, then when we get back, let's go to one. Not in a stupid ruin like this, to a real love hotel girls' party," I said on the spur of the moment. Toriko nodded. "Okay. Then you'll see what..." "Wait, what?" "Fine, let's go. For real. I mean, I've never been to one either." "Are you serious?" "You're the one who brought it up, Sorrow." "Sure, but..." Then let's go. To a Love Hotel girls' party. You eat honey toast and stuff, right? Not that I'd know. Well, I only know what I've seen online. When we get back, let's schedule something and go. I'll be looking forward to it. Sure. Huh? Having paid no heed to me as I fell silent out of worry, Toriko let out a yawn. I'm getting sleepy. I guess we should sleep. We took off our coats and shoes and got under the covers. There were already plenty of blankets, so we didn't need to use the sleeping bags. Each of us took 3 blankets for ourselves. Then we pulled the large comforter attached to the bed over us. We decided to turn the lantern down, but leave it on. I checked that my gun was in reach, then lay my head on a pillow. Good night. See you in the morning. I could feel the cup ramen and coffee warming me up from the inside. Thanks in part to exhaustion, I was asleep in an instant. Chapter 7. How much time had passed? Suddenly, I thought I heard something, so I opened my eyes. The room was quiet and freezing cold. In the white light of the LED lantern, nothing seemed to have changed from before we went to sleep. I heard it again. A slight electric noise, like a chime. Toriko. I shook the massive blankets next to me. When I did, the lump of blankets collapsed without resisting, spreading out across the bed. Oh, I see, I thought. Toriko must have had something to do and got out of bed while I was still sleeping. Getting up, I put on my shoes. Then, as I shivered in the cold, I slipped my arms to the sleeves of my coat. I moved away from the bed, looking for Toriko. The bathroom was dark and dry. Knocking first, I looked inside the toilet, but Toriko wasn't there. Where did she take off to? I wondered with some concern when I heard the faint chime again. That's when it hit me. Silly Toriko must have left the room without thinking about it. The auto lock trapped her out there, and now she was ringing the bell, trying to get back in. There's just no helping her. Jeez, I laughed to myself, then undid the chain and opened the door. A chill wind blew in from outside. There was a red person standing there, far taller than I was, and looking down at me. I felt a sense of nostalgia welling up inside me. I remember that time. When I was all alone, you asked me, do you not need those people? When I went home after that, they were all gone. I don't know if you did something, or if it was a coincidence, but that night, in the abandoned building, you saved me. I'm glad to see you again. What's up? I smiled, and the red person bent over slowly and hugged me. It felt incredibly soft and warm, just like that time. Huh? Why didn't I start the fire? Well, they never came home. Are you mad? I got the kerosene ready and everything, just like you said to. I know I didn't dump it over my head, but I didn't want to get wet. Besides, if they weren't coming back, it didn't feel like there was any point to doing it. Don't be angry. Huh? Do I not need that girl? What girl? I need her. I really do. I need that girl. I need her, so you can't take her away. You can't. Got it? She's special. Huh? A replacement? I don't need a replacement. She's the only one I need. It's fine. You don't have to watch. You don't... Suddenly my vision shook. I was no longer standing in a dark corridor, but on a field in the middle of the day. I knew this place. This was the sports field at the elementary school I'd gone to. Why am I here again? School's not out yet. If I don't go back inside, they'll get mad at me. I looked around in confusion and spotted a rusty iron door in the corner of the field. It was built right into the concrete ground, and when I pulled on the handle, I was able to open it even with my elementary schooler muscles. Inside, there was a ladder leading down. Even when I was in an elementary school, I'd always loved exploring unfamiliar places, so I excitedly began to descend. Once I reached the bottom, there was a hallway with an iron meshed floor. I could hear water running beneath my feet. Hi, Jaxie. How's it going? Where was I at? Sorry. Once I reached the bottom, there was a hallway with an iron mesh floor. I could hear water running beneath my feet. Immediately, I started walking forward. However, the corridor soon came to a dead end. I'd only gone maybe 20 meters forward. An iron grate blocked my way, and a ladder on the wall led upwards. Is that all? I thought, disappointed, and climbed the ladder, opening the hatch to go outside. For some reason, it came out in the same place I had gone down. What was more, it had been noon just moments ago, but now the sky had turned to evening colors. Scared, I ran towards home. The familiar scenery along the way seemed wrong somehow. Here and there, unfamiliar buildings replaced the ones I knew, and something was off about all the road signs and other signs along the way. When I arrived at home, out of breath, it was strange there, too. Where our garden tree once stood, there was a tall cactus sprouting a bright red flower. In our garage, there was a compact sports car. The intercom had been replaced with a little lever, pointing downwards. It had a plain wooden handle, with some sort of black symbol on it. Two cow-like statues with human faces looked down at me from the front door. This was supposed to be my house, but confused by the chaotic scene that seemed to demand I find all the things that were wrong with it, I walked around behind it. Peering into the kitchen window, I could see my father and grandmother speaking happily at the low table in the room that held our family's Buddhist altar. I thought that was weird, because normally, Dad wouldn't be home yet at this time of day. Grandma was wearing a sea blue kimono that I hadn't seen before, too. Something resembling a doll was lying on the table between them. It was like my Lika-chan, or Barbie doll, but far prettier. They were talking about what to do with it, and even though I hadn't been given it yet, I worried they were going to take it away from me. That's when I heard footsteps coming down the stairs, and my mother entered the kitchen. I couldn't see her face from where I was, but she looked the same to me as she always did. Relieved, I called out to Mom from the window. At that moment, something felt very wrong to me. Mom was supposed to be dead. After her death, Dad and Grandma went nuts. That's why I ran away. That's how I met that girl, and how I'm here now. So, was that Mom? If she was real, then what was I? Time seemed to stretch out as Mom noticed my voice and slowly turned to face me. I can't look. There'll be no going back. I'll lose something precious to me. I knew that instinctively, and yet I couldn't move. Still staring through the window as if frozen, I couldn't take my eyes off my mother as she was about to turn around. No. Toriko, save... In the next instant, there was an incredible crunching sound, and the whole world went dark. Sorabo! Someone grabbed me from behind, and I tripped as they violently pulled me backwards. I stared up at the ceiling, confused, and found myself in the dark hall of a hotel. In the light of the LED lantern shining out through the open door, a disheveled Toriko had wound up to take another swing at the red person with the axe she was carrying. Toriko, wait! I shouted, despite myself, clinging to her leg. What? Let go, Sorabo! It's not what you think, I cried out in desperation. That's the red person. It's not what I think? It's the red person. It's the red person, so it's not what you think. Toriko looked at me with murder in her eyes. Her left hand reached out, grabbed me by the top of my head, and forcibly turning me to face the red person. Take a good look. There's no way this guy's harmless. But it's the red person, I kept complaining. And Toriko finally lost her temper. Don't judge based on appearances. Who are you going to trust, Sorabo? This guy or me? With just those words, it was like the scab that had grown over my perception was torn off. Reeling after the first blow from the axe, the red person's mouth hung open, as if yelling something at me. It was pitch dark inside it, like the soot from a fireplace. What the hell is this guy? I shouted. You awake now? Yeah, I am. I was practically screaming. Had I let this monster hug me without question because of fond memories? Past thoughts rushed back into my head. This guy tried to make me douse myself with kerosene and commit suicide by burning myself to death. Now that I finally realized it, I was shocked by the fact that I had never found that strange before. Pull yourself together, Sorrow. You need to look at him with your right eye. Once Toriko said that to me, I was able to regain control of myself. I focused on my right eye and glared at the red person. If he'd just tried to kill me, that would be one thing. But no, that wasn't enough. He tried to take Toriko from me too. Okay, I'm looking right at him, I said in a suppressed voice, because if I spoke any louder, my emotions would get out of control, and I'd have ended up shouting out loud, "Kill him good, Toriko." I'm on it. Toriko took the axe in both hands again. The heavy steel blade tore through the air with a low-pitched whoosh, burying itself deep inside the red person's body. There was no scream. Repeatedly and without mercy, Toriko brought the axe down on the enemy caught in my vision. An axe makes a woman look beautiful. It sure does, I thought. Ash flew in place of blood as the red person was hacked to bits. The severed limbs that fell to the hallway carpet were like burned-out husks, with embers lingering in the severed edges, but trampled under Toriko's hiking boots, they vanished in no time. Breathing heavily, Toriko lowered the axe and looked back at me. You okay? Can you stand? I clutched her hand and pulled myself up, then was immediately overcome with incredible nausea. Doubling over, unable to speak, I puked on the red person's remains. Even once there was nothing left in my stomach, the gag reflex wouldn't stop, and it took a while before I realized Toriko was rubbing my back. How long had that red person been deceiving me? The thought of it was maddening. This meant that ever since back in high school, when I met him in that ruin, he had been messing with my perception. Even when he appeared at my apartment door, I paid no mind to it, as if it were natural for him to be there. Now that Toriko had saved me, I stumbled back into the room. She offered me a glass of water, and I rinsed out my mouth at the sink. My reflection in the mirror showed my face was a mess. Sorry, Toriko, I'm so sorry. I never realized I started to say in a voice that was hoarse from vomiting, but Toriko put a finger to my lips. Shh. Just rest for now. We can talk in the morning, okay? Yeah. Maybe because I had just experienced a memory from my school days, I nodded like a child. No, that's not it. That was a false memory. It never actually happened. At Toriko's suggestion, I took off my coat and shoes and got back into bed. Toriko sat next to me, patting my head as I lay there. It's usually the other way around, I thought, as I felt her gentle hand stroking my hair, and I gradually calmed down. But I couldn't sleep. When I closed my eyes, that scene came back to me, vividly, Mom, about to turn around. The terror I felt in that moment was hard to put into words. I shuddered just remembering it. Not because Mom was scary. I loved her, and was devastated when she died. The memory of how much she cared for me was often what kept me going in the hard times that followed. But I was truly terrified then. I knew if our eyes met, everything would break down, and there would be no going back. Of all the terrors I had come to know since learning about the other world, I'd never been more frightened than in that moment. Just the thought of seeing her eyes made me want to scream. What if that wasn't a fabricated memory, but something that actually happened? What if, even if the world was slightly distorted because this was the other side, that really had been Mom? What if our eyes met, and we spoke, and I went into the house? What if that wasn't an illusion the red person was showing me, but there was a world within the shifting aspects of the other side where my mother, who I thought was dead, was actually alive? What if there was a world where my father and grandmother never fell in with a cult because of her death? What if I was presented with the possibility of the four of us living together as a family? Would I have been able to stay the same that I am now? There would be no place for this me in that alternate Kamakoshi family. I mean, obviously their me would be happier. The other me who had never experienced betrayal by her own family, madness and an onslaught of malice. If she'd lived a peaceful life, full of happiness, she'd be a completely different person. Most of who I was now had been desperately scraped together from the pieces left after my mother died. Therefore, I was convinced that if I caught a glimpse of the possibility that might upend that foundation, it would shake me to the core. I could try to explain the fear, but it didn't make it any less scary. If anything, my head became a mess, and my mental state deteriorated even further. Ugh. I groaned and clutched my head. As nails dug into my skin and I pulled my hair, I realized that pain could rob me of the power to think. Don't do that, Sorowo. You'll go bald. Toriko grabbed my hands and tried to stop me. I brushed her off and sat up. Sorowo. I looked at Toriko, who seemed so concerned. Toriko slapped me. Huh? Why? If I keep thinking I'm going to go crazy, please. You want me to hit you? Toriko sounded shrill. I shook my head in frustration. Anything that brings me back to my senses will do. Come on, I shouted, then shut my eyes tight and braced for the pain. Honestly, anything would have been fine. If she didn't stop at a slap and just straight out punched me, I would have welcomed it. I wanted a strong sensation that would wipe out the mess currently filling my head. I know you. You get upset when I call it domestic violence, but you really like slapping me. You were really into it when you chased out the Yamanoke, and you're kind of weird anytime you start rubbing my face, but whatever, I can forget it. You're Toriko, so hurry up and... I sensed Toriko moving. I cowered reflexively, and a hand touched my left cheek. It was followed by a hand on my right cheek. Slowly. Gently. Stop it. That's not what I want. You really need to haul off and whack me. Don't you get it, Toriko? I'm halfway to going mad, right? Something soft touched my lips, and my mind went blank. My eyes opened involuntarily. Golden eyelashes were right there, ready to kill them. So my eyes hurriedly slammed themselves shut again. But in that instant, I completely understood the situation. Toriko had my face cupped in her hands, and she was kissing me. Beautiful people always smell good. It's just not fair, I grumbled internally, remembering my own exhausted face from the mirror. She's got some nerve. She thinks she can get away with this just because she's beautiful? And her lips are soft. Does she eat nothing but lip balm 3 times a day? I was shocked to feel something wet between those soft lips. What? She slipped me the tongue. I struggled, reflexively pulling away. I couldn't stop her. Once our faces separated, Toriko let out a violent laugh. That fierce, unrelenting smile was so beautiful, I just stared up at her, forgetting to protest. How was it? Toriko asked, her face triumphant, defiant, and scared. How about you tell me first, I said, not entirely sure what I was asking. Toriko licked her lips and looked upwards into the side as she mulled over it. Don't savor it, you dummy. I thought her face had suddenly loosened up a bit, then, unable to hold back any longer, burst into a massive grin. Aha! I was taken aback by her sputtering laugh. What the hell? Her lips quivering with laughter, Toriko came right out and said, It tasted like puke. You jerk! I shouted, and Toriko broke up. She clutched her belly and collapsed on the bed. You're the worst. I'm done. I'll be sleeping on the sofa. Goodbye. Sorry. Don't go. As I tried to get up out of bed, Toriko stopped me. Even if you smell like puke, I'll put up with it, so... The rest was lost in another gale of laughter. If something tickled Toriko's funny bone, she'd be at it for a while. She fell back into bed, still holding me, and this time wouldn't let go. I let her hug me from behind for a while, a scowl still on my face. Okay, I'm sorry. Jeez, what even's going on? But hey, you're back to your senses, right? Like the ends justify the means. Thanks to you, I replied begrudgingly. The impact of that kiss had blasted the terror that seemed so deep-rooted clear out of my head. It was all gone now. I'm glad it was me, I murmured unconsciously. I'm glad it was this me here today. I lost my mom and went through hell, but just being able to meet Toriko was enough to make life satisfying. Honestly, I couldn't imagine living without her anymore. What'd you say? Toriko asked, and I repeated myself angrily. I said I'm glad it was me. There's people who'd flip out if you did that to them out of nowhere, okay? And that's alright. I wouldn't do it to anyone but you, Sorowo. That one nonchalant comment was enough to torpedo down my pitiful attempt to fight back. Hey, turn this way. The moment I reluctantly turned to face Toriko, she hugged me as hard as she could. She patted my head like crazy and mussed my hair. Oh, hold on. Sorabo, I love you. You understand that, right? She whispered into my hair, as if speaking into my roots. I struggled with myself for a moment, then I took a deep breath. I know. What do you think I am? We have the closest kind of relationship in the world, right? You said it yourself, didn't you? This time, Toriko hugged me tight without a word. That hurts, I protested. Hey. Oh, wait. Am I supposed to hug her back, maybe? By the time I realized it, it was apparently too late, and Toriko had already loosened her grip on me, satisfied. Under the mountain of blankets, we stared at one another for a time. Then, unable to take Toriko's sparkling eyes staring into mine any longer, I quickly surrendered and closed my eyes. Good night. See you in the morning. Before I fell asleep, I noticed that, at some point, we had started holding hands. I didn't even think of letting go. Yo, Anonymous, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Let me see here. Okay. Chapter 8. The next morning, we opened the shuttered windows, and a fresh coat of snow covered everything beneath the clear skies. Wow, it's all white, Toriko exclaimed. It's stuck, huh? We put our coats on and headed outside. There was many 10 centimeters of accumulation. The AP-1's tracks could handle it. Both of us had grown up in snow country, but I had never seen a scene like this before. Fresh fallen snow as far as the eye could see, untread by anyone. Just making our mark on the snow was exciting. We laid down side by side on a slope and spread our arms to make snow angels, threw snowballs, made half-hearted attempts at a snowman, and generally fooled around for a little while. Been a chill day off, you got your head to the picnic? Nice, nice. It got cold, so we made some instant corn soup in the parking lot and drank it. We'd been looking around the area as we played, and were easily able to find the bridge a little way down the road. It seemed likely to me that there was more to night in the other world than just the living creatures becoming more active. I was thinking that it warped time and space, or perhaps human perception of them too. That had to be why, no matter how far we drove last night, we never reached the bridge. After finishing a breakfast consisting of soup, calorie mate, and coffee, we prepared to set out. We checked the room that we had stayed in one last time to make sure we weren't missing anything. Then, loading our stuff into the AP-1, I started the engine. Driving through the green vinyl curtain, we came out of the parking lot and onto the street. The other world was shining white under the sun. There were 2 tracks left behind us. After going a mere 100 meters or so, the bridge came into view. It was a Japanese-style bridge with scarlet railings, like something you might see over the river in a hot springs resort area. We stopped the AP-1 in front of the bridge and got off for a moment. It would have been too scary to keep moving without checking that the bridge could handle our weight first. We crossed, using a shovel and long crowbar to feel around for any hidden holes. Not finding any unusual warping or damage, it seemed like our vehicle would be able to cross without issue. Taking the same route back, we recrossed the bridge on the AP-1. When we reached the opposite shore, we turned right and drove alongside the river. Eventually, we found a slanted road that would take us down the riverbed. We slowly descended the slope, as I worried we were going to lose traction and slip, then proceeded across the rocky river beach. The ground here wasn't level. So this was the most uncomfortable part of the drive yet, but the movable track rollers Natsumi had installed absorbed the shock, making it a lot better than it could have been. Once we had gone about 10 minutes at low speed, we spotted a massive familiar rock. This was where we'd set up the searchlight. We made it! Toriko declared triumphantly. Hurrah! Our shouts echoed across the other world until they were absorbed by the fresh fallen snow. Next to the giant rock was a natural shelter where no snow seemed to have accumulated, so we parked the AP-1 there. Yay! Toriko cried out. We did it! We high-fived each other. It looked like we could call our first long-distance expedition a success. I'm beat, said Toriko with a sigh. Let's go home. I want to take a shower. Want to borrow one at the DS lab? I suggested. You think they'd let us? I bet they would. I got down from the AP-1 and pulled my backpack and rifle off the luggage rack. The crowbars and other heavy stuff can stay here for now. Let's put a sheet over it. We'll just take back the stuff that might be damaged by the humidity. Okay. Now, as for the gate, let's see. There it is. Snow had partially buried the pile of stones that indicated the location of the gate. It was faster to just look with my right eye. Let's go. Wait, hold on. Toriko hurriedly called out to stop me, then started digging through her own backpack. What's up? Here, for you. What came out of her pack was a stylish wooden box. It was painted white with an unfamiliar logo burned onto it. I set my own baggage down on the snow and accepted the box. What's this? A present. You can open it. I did as I was told and slid open the lid. The inside of the box was lined with an orange suede material, and it contained 2 knives, side by side. Simple, pretty knives with wooden handles. They looked like the type that folded up. Comparing the 2 of them, they were slightly different sizes. The small one is yours. Huh? Then what about this one? It's mine. Despite having said it was a present, Toriko reached out and took her own knife first. Folding it with a snap, she laid it flat on her palm. Look here. The back of her handle bore a similar brand to the box. It was a symbolic design, a flying bird. On the opposite side was a swimming fish. These are... Yeah, our symbols. The bird from her name, and the fish from mine. This is pretty embarrassing, you know? Oh, yeah? Well, if you don't want it... No, I do. I really do. I reached out, but Toriko suddenly raised her voice. Wait. I want to hand it to you myself. Okay. Toriko lifted the knife out of the box and placed it on her open palm. The blade was turned towards her, the handle to me. Will you accept it? The knife's point was aimed directly at Toriko's heart. Her indigo eyes stared directly into my own. Toriko, it's dangerous looking into my right eye like that. Despite thinking that, I couldn't look away. Of course. I reached out and took the handle with its fish and bird symbols. What do you think? I tried to choose one you could use while camping. Yeah. Testing my grip on it, I found it fit in my hand so well it was scary. This fits too well. Don't tell me you measured my hand or something. Huh? I didn't figure out that much without taking measurements. Oh, yeah? I tried folding the blade. Without needing to exert any excess force, it easily slid into the slot in the handle. Despite the seemingly simple shape, she had customized the size and the symbols on them. These had to cost a pretty penny. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Smug. These had to cost a pretty penny. Thanks. I like it. Seems easy to use. Glad to hear it. But why so suddenly? To celebrate our first long-distance expedition? Well, it's kind of that day, you know? That kind of day? I asked, not following her, and Toriko's eyebrows drooped. Christmas is... well, it's a family event. I thought you might have some bad memories, so I couldn't bring it up, but... what? But watching you, it didn't seem like you did. It was like you just weren't thinking about Christmas at all, so... Christmas? Go figure. Toriko sighed, seeing the confused look on my face. Yesterday was the 24th. Today's the 25th. She explained. Now that she mentioned it, I made the connection between the date and what was happening here. Looking down at the present in my hands. Oh, it's Christmas, I said, sounding like an idiot. That's right. I'm glad I was able to give it to you. Thanks. You're welcome. Christmas. Oh, yeah, I see now. That's how it is, huh? So then, I spent Christmas Eve, of all nights, with Toriko in a love hotel? It was a ruined one, and I threw up a lot, but still. As I was thinking silly things, Toriko suddenly spoke up. Christmas Highway. Huh? What? That's what we'll name this road. Isn't it great? That's okay, right? Even I couldn't say anything for a while, but once I finally regained my faculty of speech, I mumbled, "That's a good name you came up with. Every time we drive down this way, I was sure it would remind me of what happened." "Good. It's decided then." Toriko smiled, not knowing how I felt. "Merry Christmas, Sorowo." And that is the end of File 15. So we definitely don't have time to start the next one because it is almost midnight, but we also still have some time before the end of stream. So I haven't read many of these bits. At the end of each of the novels, there is a little kind of afterword from the author where they talk about basically the things they were referencing within the stories. So I think I might read that. Lobby matches in GBVSR. Oh my god. Thank you for the hydrate, by the way, Anon. Let me take a look here real quick to make sure I'm not missing anything. Thank you for the posture check as well. But I think I'll read this real quick because, I mean, I do think they are interesting, even if it's not really part of the story. Works referenced. This work uses many pre-existing true ghost stories and pieces of net lore as its motif. In particular, this section will note those which have been used directly. This will touch on the content of the main book, so if you are concerned about spoilers, please tread carefully. File 12, The Matter of That Farm. For the entry on Yamano Bokujo, the farm in the mountains, please refer to the section on File 11. There are a number of other reports that revolve around strange farming facilities in the mountains. Though I have not used them directly, I do want to touch on them as a source of inspiration. Sucrose Grand Blue, any percent speedrun ASMR? Oh my god. I have genuinely wondered whether or not trying to speedrun survival mode in Grand Blue might be kind of an interesting thing at one point. I'm not sure. Anyways, one is Sankan no Mashi, the town in the mountains, included in Toshiki Agatsuma's Kikimimi Zoshi Juso, Strange Tales, Curses, Takashobo 2015. It's worth a try someday? Maybe. It's about encountering a herd of cows with frightening faces at an uninhabited village in the mountains. The wife of the narrator, who's riding in the car with him, says that the cows' faces look like the faces of her look like the face of her boss. Do it as a wind down. I mean, I guess I could, huh? The other is not from a written work, but is a movie. It is Neko Bokujo, Cat Farm, included in Korakuta Suzaku Mande. Collector Red Sparrow Departure, Rakusosha 2014. While driving through the mountains of Hokkaido, the narrator enters a ghost town, and in the barn of the farm there, they find a man who crawls around on all fours and is too large to be a human, and witnesses a cat gazing down on them from the roof. The narrator's girlfriend, who is in the car with him, says, "That was no cat, it was a demon." These similar stories share important elements of their composition, but the details are so bizarre and different as to defy a simple explanation. The Kudan, a cow with the face of a person, is a story told in many places in Western Japan, while the cow woman, a person with the face of a cow, has been repeatedly cited around Mount Rako. The first to link these two creatures was likely Gendai Hyaku Monogatari Shinmimi Bakuro Daisha. Modern Day 100 Stories, Shinmimi Bakuro, The First Night. Hirokatsuki. I'm going to skip the publishing credits because it's just a lot. In this work, there may seem to be no distinction made between the Kudan and the cowwoman, but this is because the narrator, Sorowo, is telling the tale with the assumption that the two are connected. Despite being big names, the Kudan and Cowwoman are not common fixtures in net lore. One of the few exceptions appeared on the 2-channel message board Occult/Paranormal Phenomenon board in Yamani Matsuaru Kobai Hanashi Part 4, Scary Stories Involving Mountains Part 4, post 311 to 313, which include 3 stories of the Kudan by user Raimi Ichigo that he gathered in the Shugoku region. It's fascinating to know that the Kudan is not necessarily a cow with the face of a person. Other animals with human faces can also be called Kudan. File 13, Pandora in the Next Room. The famous net lore story Pandora was posted to Scary Story Submissions Horror Teller. 1 month later, details of the ceremony performed in that story were posted on the same board. This work borrows depictions from those 2 posts. The portrayal of the neighbor opening the door with strange hands is borrowed from the previously mentioned story Tonari no Ona, the woman next door. File 14, The Inviting Hot Springs. The mannequins that appeared in the hot springs were inspired by the story Mannequin, which was posted to the 2-channel message boards Occult/Paranormal Phenomena board in Do You Want to Gather Ridiculously Scary Stories thread 10, post 412 to 424. It's a memorable story from the early days of that series of threads, which tells the story of a group of friends who share a horrifying experience. Despite there being no paranormal phenomena involved, it still manages to be unsettling. File 15. The direct inspiration for the red person came from the red human-shaped thing that appears at the door in The Visitor, included in the collection Modern Day 100 Stories, The Sixth Night. This story reports the sighting of a big red person standing over 2 meters tall that rings the doorbell and peers into the house through the decorative glass above the door. It is said to have taken place in the city of Higashimurayama. In addition, on the 2-channel message boards Occult/Paranormal Phenomena board and the thread Anyone Ever Had have a red person come to their house, several people in addition to the thread starter wrote about having had the same experience. The scene where Sorabo goes to a strange and different version of her elementary school uses images from posts 804 and 815 of the thread Strange Memories from Your Childhood, number 14, on the 2-channel message boards Occult/Paranormal Phenomena board. I am personally quite fond of this story, and am pleased to have finally been able to feature it here in the 4th volume. The title given to the story on aggregator sites, Urisekai, The Other Side, comes from the poster remembering the other world that appears in Dragon Quest III, which they were playing at the time, and blurting out, "I've ended up on the other side." The other world in the game is officially referred to as the World of Darkness, but I can understand why someone might want to call it the other side. That is because when I was a child, we talked a lot about Uramen, secret levels, and Urasuteji, secret stages, that could be reached by using secret techniques. I know I always say this, but I would like to give my thanks to the people who reported the many other true ghost stories and net lore from which I have taken direct or indirect influence. Thank you for your continued enjoyment and for being frightened. I hope this book can repay my gratitude in some small way. And that's the end of novel number 4. The end of file 15 and novel number 4. The next one would be, let me see here. The next novel is called, hang on, one moment. Google is being a little stubborn. There it is. The end? So you cry now? No, it's the end of that novel. It's not the end of the book. It's not the end of the series. The next volume is called Hashaku-sama Revival. And the next file is called Pantiniac Hotel. And if I recall correctly, they basically go immediately from this story into Toriko making good on Sorowo's request to have a girls' party at a love hotel. But to give you a slight preview of it, Sorowo kind of throws a wrench into the whole thing by inviting the others, basically Akari, Natsumi, and Kazakura. when Toriko very obviously just wanted to be at a love hotel with Sororo. But so that's what that is what the next story winds up being. Okay, so we are not at midnight yet. We're not quite done. That's what I'm pulling up our the raid window just to see who's out there, who we might go pay a visit to. I think I know who we might go to. Oh, I did raid her earlier. Anyways, we can work that out later. I'm not quite done yet. You've survived another day at work. Let's go, Kali. Welcome in. So I can find, if you guys want. Okay. Thanks again for the shout out. Of course. So I'm gonna take the first couple suggestions I can see. Would you rather have just closing out the evening with some like trigger requests? Hello. Oh my gosh. What? Hello, Kitty Melody. Oh my gosh. Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in. Oh my gosh, wait, did we not? Oh, the shout out just happened. I'm so sorry, Kitty. It will, the shout out will happen as soon as it can. It's on cooldown. I'm so sorry. We just had a shout out happen. But yes, welcome in. Hello, Gamer Realm. Hello, Avira Win. Hello, Kitty Melody. Hello, Ababa. Thank you so much for the follows, by the way. Based BN7, Sleepy EP Bear, and Ababa. Ababa, I think that was your card pull right there. Congrats on the SR on your first card pull. That's awesome. Hello, Vane. How's it going? Oh my gosh, you guys. What kind of stream did you just have there, Kitty Melody? Was it also ASMR? My stream's going well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Was it an ASMR stream for you as well? The shout out will happen very soon here, I promise. Here, let me go ahead and do this for you first, right here, real quick. Go ahead and get that, just so that we get it was an ASMR. Nice. Card pulls, yeah. So you get a card pull for following or subscribing. And you can also do a check-in every stream, and that will also get you a card pull. Right now we have 30 cards in the set. We have various rarities of card pulls, everything from common to rare to super rare, and one SSR card in the set. So anyways, I hope it was good though. I'm super grateful for the, there we go, the shout out happened. Super grateful for the raid. I'm so thankful. Thank you so much. Hello everybody who came in with Kitty Melody's raid. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Sucrose Yurishigaki, Kumajo in training. I'm a variety streamer and a magical girl bear VTuber. I mostly focus on retro style content when I am not doing ASMR. I also play a lot of Grand Blue Rising, so if you like fighting games, I do that too. Magical girl, yes, absolutely. Thank you for the follows, you guys. Thank you so much. Yuza-chan, Kitty Melody, thank you so much. But yes, on Sunday nights, I also do cozy content and ASMR, which is what we're doing right now. We just finished, I was doing a book reading from a light novel series called Otherside Picnic. We just finished closing out novel number 4. It's the general gist of it is it's about 2 college-age girls who find like their way into another world, and they can kind of like go back and forth as they like, and so they like start taking trips there together to kind of explore it and like find artifacts that they can turn around and sell, and then also they wind up fighting like SCP monsters, for lack of a better way to put it, while they're there too. B-jail, hang on one second, I can fix that. So yeah, we just finished one of the stories from that. So I was actually just trying to figure out what we're gonna do for the rest of the stream because I got a little bit of time left. We're not quite done. Do I have a Discord? I do, in fact. Hang on one second here. Oh, thank you, While Running. Appreciate it. But yes, did I mention Retro Gamer too? Yes, absolutely, I am. So I do everything. So it's like retro style sometimes. So like not necessarily old games all the time, but like a lot of games that are like evoking older games. Like earlier this week we were playing Deltarune earlier, which is like obviously not a new or not an old game. That chapter 5 just came out, but it's like that's like very much in the style of like, you know, older RPGs and stuff. But we also play I also play a lot of like Metroidvanias, 2D platformers, JRPGs. I some like 3D platformers and stuff too, collectathons, stuff like that. Hello, Backpack Debbie. I love that name. Oh my gosh. You guys have some great names. What was I saying? But yeah, everything from like, I don't play a lot of like things older than, I don't play too much that's like older than, I guess Game Boy. I've played some NES games, just not very often. It's mostly like SNES era through like PS3 era, I suppose. Also really good at, and okay, I won't argue with that. I do play a lot of Granblue Rising. So that's I don't play a whole lot of other fighting games. I play Granblue Rising. I play some Guilty Gear. And I'm going to be trying out Avatar and Tokon when those come out. But yeah, if you're familiar with Granblue, thank you so much. I take it you also do retro style stuff, Kitty? Do you prefer Kitty or Melody? Is there like a preference there? Because yeah, like I did drop you a follow. I'm definitely curious to check you out as well. But yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye out for you, because like you seem super cool also. So you're super sweet at the very least. You love playing retro games. Let's go. But yes, Kitty, if you have a particular ASMR request you would like to make, please let me know in chat. Don't worry about channel points. I like to offer that to raiders when they come in, or like to the person who raided. For everybody else, we do have trigger requests. Let me go ahead and drop this real quick so we can pull them up. There we go. And if there is a channel point redeem for those, if you want to request anything. I was just asking chat what you guys would like to see for the rest of the stream here. We're going to be going for probably another 20 minutes or so, I think, maybe a little bit longer. I can either just do like trigger redeems and like cozy sounds and stuff, or I can pull up a bedtime story and do some more reading. Glass tapping, absolutely. Let's go ahead. Of course. Guys, please go give some love to Kitty Melody. From the sound of it, an ASMR and retro streamer as well over there, and I am positive they are awesome. So, go give them some love. Hang on, I'm taking a drink from this. No, of course. I'm gonna try something here. Hang on. That's definitely a different sound. There's like a lot of there's a design on this glass, and it's got a lot of ridges and stuff. And if I just run my nail over it, it's not quite tapping, but it gives kind of a sound as well. Although I don't know how audible that actually is, so let's go back to the normal tapping. It occurs to me that I may have forgotten to set up my closing screen today, so I may wind up giving you guys some quick keyboard ASMR as I fix that before we end. That might just happen. Whoops. I'm definitely always prepared. Always. I'm very, very good at this. Yeah, that actually is kind of a neat sound. If I just like, your disappointment is immeasurable, more wellness needs for me. You said that like you wouldn't do that anyways. Your threats mean nothing to me. I know you were already doing them. Thank you for the follow, Jason. I appreciate it. The frog toy? Sure, we can do that. Oh, it's over here. Okay. I don't know if it would be like if you, unless you were like playing an alt. I don't know if you would be capable of not kneeing me. Ted, hello. Thank you for the check-in. You're not late. It's fine. It's okay. You made it. I appreciate it. Expect fan art. This is a threat. I appreciate that. I'm always really like, I'm really flattered if like just the thought that anybody would want to is just like really, really flattering to me, honestly. I'm very, very grateful to everybody who's done any drawings for me. It's super, super cool. Like I know so many, like, I've been like blessed to know like so many amazing artists, and like I like sending work their way as well. It can be a little tricky to see sometimes. What I need to do, I think I need to get maybe do like a command or something, because like the artist credits are on each of those cards, but I think it's a little difficult to see sometimes on the stream. I should put together like a command or something to pull up a link that would just like give credits for all of the artwork. You can't draw, but you'll commission something. I mean, would I keep dabbling on the VGen gotcha? Wait, what? Oh, wait, you mean like skebs and stuff, or what? Oh, yeah. I need to do more like actual like skebs like from the site. I've done one so far, and like I really, really love the one that I got done, even though it accidentally wound up being artwork of me being tiny, just because I didn't like make it clear what the scale of the wand was. But that's fine. It's also really cute, so I didn't mind at all. Accidentally look. Look, if I was going to commission something like that on purpose, it would be the other direction. Huh? For the first, would it rather be chibi or not chibi? That is entirely up to you. I would be happy with either one. whichever you like. I have I've gotten artwork of like both kinds. So both of them are good. Both of them are very good. I don't really I'm just grateful for the idea of somebody doing anything at all. So are there plans for Sucre's GX era cards? Wait, like Yu-Gi-Oh? And Wand. Oh, did you join the Discord? If you did, there should be, oh gosh, where is it? Oh, it's right there. There is a channel in there that's called Sucre's Character References, and it does show the wand in there. However, I realize looking at that, it does not show the wand relative to me. So here, hang on, let me fix this real quick here so I can show that off. Also, you know, I may as well show off myself in general. So did me. Comically large spoon wand. Okay, so here, in order to do this, I do need to swap outfits. So give me 1 second here. And this is my wand. Let me move back forward here. So that's what it looks like. And yes, it's, thank you so much, Kitty. I appreciate it. And yeah, no, I have references in there. I need to put an actual reference in there that shows me holding the wand, because like, again, when I got this skeb done, again, and I like no complaints whatsoever about the skeb itself, because I absolutely love it. However, it did, it is kind of funny. Let me find it real quick here. It is kind of funny that like, I gave them the wand, but I didn't show them like myself holding it, right? So instead I wound up with it looking like this. As soon as I can find it, hang on. So this is what it wound up coming out like, which again, super cute, super cute. And I absolutely adore it, but that wand is huge. And it's okay. I do not mind. It just means that, you know, it's just a drawing of me shrunk down real tiny, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. The artwork is adorable. It's so cute, right? Definitely didn't get reminded to make a channel reference. No, I did. Okay, I will powerful extend. I will not claim credit for having made that channel myself. I did make it in response to somebody asking for it and saying that, and letting me know that they needed my references. So I was just like, oh, okay, I will make one. I will make a reference channel. But yes, big spell was used on the wand. Art explained. I mean, sure. It's true. But yeah, no, I do want to do more Speak of the Devil, who's actually an angel. Hello, Zhao. How's it going? But I do want to do more Skeb requests, because I love the one I got so much. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. I get very nervous about doing it, because like, I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. I should just pick an artist, which there's a lot of artists I'm looking at over there. They're like really good. I should just pick an artist and like send them my references and just be like, hey, draw me please. Like, maybe with like minor amounts of direction, but like just do it. The problem that like the part that makes me nervous is the fact that like it's a Japanese site and I don't speak Japanese, but it does allow, non-Japanese speakers to put submissions in, to make requests, but it does like machine translation for whatever you say. So you kind of have to be like very deliberate in how you're wording your requests, because because whatever you're saying has to go through a translation filter. And if you are being, too flowery in your language, or being like using slang or anything like that, like it won't translate properly. Like even doing that, like even like being really careful when I did mine, like one of the bits that I said in my request got translated wrong. It didn't lead to anything bad happening. It just wasn't what I meant it to say. But like, again, so long as you're careful, and as long as it's like you're really, really careful about like what specifically you're saying, then it's fine. It's not a problem. Like I said, the wand thing wasn't even a result of the translation being wrong. That was just my own fault for not giving the reference properly. So wand is oki, bear is chisai. Oh, never mind. I was like, wait a second, those aren't right. And I was like, wait, nope, I know what those mean. Anyways, I want to do more of those because they are relatively redeemed, still open. No, absolutely. EP girl had a bad day. No worries. I just dropped the whatever. I can get that later. That's fine. Let me go ahead here and get Kali's and then Anon's. Kali, I know you had a bad day today, and possibly tonight, but bad days, they're rough. They're real rough to get through, right? Like, honestly, I've had my share of them recently. They're not good. Doesn't feel good. But the thing is, there's always going to be another day on the other side of it. A day to start fresh and pick it back up again. And maybe the things that made the day bad, maybe they're gone, maybe they aren't gone, but getting that, being able to hit that reset button on the day and pick back up again in the morning. Sometimes things feel different. Sometimes things that feel way too big and way too much to deal with, they feel better. Maybe not good, but they feel less hard to deal with, right? Just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit, but even that little bit can really, really make a difference. And I think, no, I know, because I know you, right? You've gotten through things before. You will again. It may not be easy, but you can do it. I absolutely 100% believe that you can and that you will. And you will come out the other side of it just fine. It's okay to write the day off as kind of bad. That doesn't mean the things that happened in it aren't important, but it does mean that sometimes it's not salvageable, and the thing to do is just be like, okay, I'm just gonna go lie down, relax, and sleep. Go take a rest, go take a nap, go take a full night's sleep even. And You can try again tomorrow. Regardless, I know that whatever it is, you will make it through. Because you are capable, you are enough, and you are a very, very, very good girl, Kali. You got this. Pivoting off of that to Anonymous's, which would be Kumajo. 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 Kuma, kuma, kuma. Majo, majo, majo. Kumajo. Kumajo. Out of her Zhao, because she keeps getting tormented by this, I will absolutely do that. Kuma, 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 kuma. Majo, 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 majo. Kumajo. 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 Kuma, 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 majo. And then for Zhao, Zhao, oh Zhao, Arara, 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 Arara. Okay, there you go. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope those were all good. Feeling 95% better. Excellent. I'm glad. Okay. So we are crawling towards 12:30. So I am gonna pull this raid window back up here. Thank you, Fighting Games, for reaction time. You got your headphones synced up in just time for the ada-adas. Oh my god. Let me see here. I'm just gonna take a quick look at who is out there in the world of Twitch and ASMR. Let me see here. Kumajas plus ada equals peak cows. I'm glad. I'm very glad to hear that. Let me see. I'm realizing that I don't have the ASMR category searched there. Let's turn that on. There we go. That's better. Let's see. Whoa, wait. Somebody is playing Higurashi as an ASMR stream? Let me see who else is here, though. Let's see. I think we've rated most of our regulars. There's an awesome ASMR artist named Suka's Collision. We should rate her. I don't know. I think she's kind of mid as far as the ASMR thing goes. I appreciate it, raw running. Okay, let's see here. There's a couple we haven't rated recently. Her ASMR is super great. Aw, I appreciate it, you guys. You will bonk thee for self-deprecation. And okay, I'll stop. So, okay. Should I send you guys out to another reading stream? Sweet Coelho is reading Higurashi, which is kind of cool, honestly. Oh, right. I was going to do this. Give me 1 second. you guys get some quick keyboard ASMR here. Because, for no reason, don't worry about it. There's no reason beyond just, I want to do this. It's fine. It's totally fine. So, some quick keyboard ASMR. The end screen again? No, why would you think that? Lena's the only regular, but I think we did rate her recently, yeah. No, there's more than one regular on. We've got a couple that are on. Let's see. There we go. Cool. That was for nothing in particular. Don't worry about it. I just wanted to do some keyboarding. That's no other reason other than that. Don't worry. Anyways. Hello, Snowy. Thank you for the check-in. Suiko's office work and then hunts for Yuri with coffee ASMR. I mean, no SSR. It'll happen eventually, Snowy. It will. Free typing ASMR, no complaints. Yeah, right? No, of course. That was all I was doing. That was all. That was the only thing I was doing. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine. Anyways, yeah. So, again, we could go say hi to Sweet Coelho, who's doing some Higurashi reading. Or we've got a couple regulars just doing normal ASMR. So let's see here. Oh. Okay, so like, well, it turns out that we hadn't rated Luna. We hadn't rated Letty in a minute, as I just checked. But she also just ended stream, so so that wouldn't work. Anyways, okay. So Higurashi reading. I'm not gonna say the. Oh, I actually already said it was Sweet Coelho doing Higurashi. Okay, whatever. Sweet Coelho doing Higurashi or Kitsune no Kokoro doing just normal ASMR. So basically, it's readings or not readings. Which ones? Which ones do you want? I guess readings would be the most appropriate, right? Yeah. You know what? Let's go do that. We're gonna go do that. We're gonna go give Coelho some love. Okay. So, guessing right on the 50-50, yes, I guess. Yes, yet again. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead. I hope she's going to keep going for a little while. She's been going for 4 hours, but also I don't think she's towards the, I don't think she's like, at an ending point in this chapter from what I can see. So, we're going to go do that before she raids. So, those of you coming with me, we do have a raid message. If you are subscribed with access to the emotes, it is this. If you are not subscribed, that's totally fine. We've got you covered with this one instead. I will be back on Tuesday for some more Deltarune, Chapter 5. I'm very excited to continue with that. I'm so excited to continue it, you guys. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I've been having so much fun with it. So, Oh, right. Let me go ahead and do this part just in case the raid happens to leave you behind. It is Sweet Coelho. There we are. Be ready to get my butt kicked. I'm so ready. I'm so ready until it happens, and then I will complain endlessly, but I'm still ready. So, regardless, I will see you guys on Tuesday for some more Deltarune. And until then, I hope you have a great rest of your night and a great rest of your week. And I will see you next time. Good night, chat. Sleep well. Hang tight for that raid. Good night.